open ocean, and one guy had to stay up there, and look out for sharks.
Yeah, with a gun.
Yeah.
And shoot. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. All right, that's Trash Today, brought to you by.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process so easy. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home or your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call Birmingham office 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Might as well end the show with people who are pissed. Let's go Cam Ward. Cam Ward blasting the playoff committee on social media, basically asking, does those guys even watch tape? He's talking about them in a podcast. Do those boys on the committee, not sure they watch the games or not. And he says, tell them boys, go watch the real tape, not no highlights and stuff, because he says we're playing better defenses. Cam Ward says we're playing better defenses.
Than who? Alabama?
Than the teams that are ahead of them. Yeah, I would disagree.
There are 6 SEC teams in the top 25 in total defense. There is one in the ACC at number 25, and it's his own team, Miami.
Which is amazing that they're at 25.
I agree. And look, I like me some Cam Ward. I don't know if the Wonderlic matters anymore, but those comments are stupid.
Brett Yormark is pissed off. He's the Big 12 commissioner. He says there's no way that a group of 5 conference champions should get a automatic bye ahead of his conference.
I kind of agree with him on this.
I do too.
It's the system he agreed to, or his conference agreed to.
Yeah, I mean, look, whoever wins that game, whether it's Iowa State or Arizona State, would beat the other.
Yeah. I believe that the journey the Big 12 champion goes on is harder than the journey Boise State's been on. Fair?
The only thing I would say, both Iowa State and Arizona State have not had a more difficult one out-of-conference game than Boise. Now, Boise lost that game.
Yeah, but it played them well.
Yeah.
But so did Idaho. And then there is Shane Beamer, who obviously his team's playing well. He got asked a question on the signing day news conference about being left out and maybe indicating what the future is happening in college football. Here's Shane.
When you kind of look at all the vagueness of what the committee decides and how they can have one priority one year, not one the next, does that influence you in any way going forward? Do you talk with whoever the next AD is about changes?
If you're asking, is there anything to gain by playing in some of these games that you play out of conference? I think it's something that not just us, but every team needs to look at, because clearly you can go through an entire season, not beat a ranked team, and be in the playoff if you just win. So I think it's something. I'm a competitor. I love playing in those games. I'm looking forward to playing Virginia Tech and Atlanta next season. But the committee made it very clear that they really don't give a hoot who you beat. Just, don't lose 3 times and you're in, even if it means you never beat a ranked opponent. Not one. Don't beat a ranked opponent, but just win the games on your schedule, and you're in. They made a pretty strong statement about that, absolutely.
The counter to that argument, though, is had they beaten Furman Saturday rather than Clemson on the road, the narrative about them would be different.
Oh, it would be a lot different. The Jay Wright version of college football.
Jay Wright? Yep. In what way?
Looks like a smoker.
Oh.
He does.
I thought you were going to give him a compliment that he was like Jay Wright, the coach.
And if you think Sharon Moore is apologetic about Michigan's win over Ohio State, he is not. He is taking the flag that was planted in the middle of the field that caused the ruckus, and he is saying it is going to be displayed inside the Michigan football building from now on, right beside the one they planted in 2022, which is also on display
The
there.
only thing Sharon Moore will ever hang there.
That's the only banner he hangs.
We'll
see you tomorrow. Actually, Bud Light game night tonight. We'll see you tonight. 5 p.m. this evening.
At the Grocery in Homewood.
The Grocery in Homewood was part of the Battery right there. Come and see us with our friends at Bud Light tonight. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. That's happening tonight. Until next time, God bless you. God bless America.
Here at the Next Round, we love our guests, especially our 2024 football regulars. Auburn and Alabama fans, we've got your guys. On Mondays at 9:25, we'll be joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and Tuesdays at 9:25, we chat with Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne. Join us and rep your team.
Take the Next Round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Jim Dunaway. Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We're live at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia for the SEC Championship. It's Texas and Georgia. We'll get into that game coming up. Lance Taylor back in our Birmingham studios, the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, and we'll talk to him. That's Emily Grace McWhorter. That's Ryan Brown. Had to think of his name for a second. Jim Dunaway.
Good to see you, Jim. Glad to be in town.
LT back with the guys in Birmingham. We'll get to all the college football, including some big championship games tonight with playoff implications in one of them. But LT, let's start with a little National Football League stuff from last night. A little exciting 34-31 affair with the Lions getting the win.
Yeah, and Dan Campbell doing Dan Campbell things. And I stay up just to watch one of these things burn him. And, you know, I hear people all morning, man, he did the right thing. He did the right thing. He did the only thing that could lose them the game. Look, they get away with it, but how in the hell 4th and 1 on Green Bay's 21 would have been a 39-yard field goal with 43 seconds left just to get the first down? And I know that it was, hey, we wanted to control this. We didn't want Green Bay to get it back. But if you don't get that, Green Bay goes down, gets a field goal, you lose that game.
You know, Lance, we talked about this the other day. We were talking about college coaches going to the NFL and the fact that Dan Lanning's name gets mentioned sometimes. And I think Jim actually brought it up. You know, how's that going to work for Dan Lanning when he does some of that crazy stuff in college football in the NFL? It's Dan Campbell. Dan Lanning and Dan Campbell are the same guy.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree with that. And when it doesn't work in the NFL, Brandon Staley is the guy that I look at, former defense coordinator under Sean McVay, took the Chargers job, and he would go for it in these situations, and it would backfire. For Dan Campbell, it works. But let's not forget that you go back to a minute and 29 seconds left in the third, same situation. On their own 31, they go for it. They get stuffed. 4 plays later, Green Bay takes the lead. Now, all that gets, massaged over based on the fact that they get that final 4th down and they end up getting the field goal and they get the win. But, I mean, you got to – I know the defense is completely banged up, but still 43 seconds left. Jake Bates, one of the better kickers in the NFL, inside of 40, 11 for 11 this year. You got to let him kick it. There'll be roughly 35 seconds on the clock. That's all they'll have to go down and get a field goal. You're at home. Worst case, it goes to overtime. I just didn't understand the decision, but this is Dan Campbell, and this is the things he does, and this year he's gotten away with it.
It keeps working.
Yep.
I mean, it keeps working. You would say conventional wisdom is he's got to change and be more conformative, but until you get burned, like if you keep putting your hand on the iron and the iron never burns you, you're not going to stop putting your hand on the iron.
That's right, until he gets burned.
Yeah.
Lions are in a great position at 12-1 now, 11 games. They've won in a row, and they control right now their path to a home field advantage in the NFC. So that was the National Football League last night, but the whole world now turns to college football this weekend. EG, set the scene for us here. You were walking around when you got here. This is your town. This is your city. And this is your Hall of Fame.
Thank you. So we're in the tailgate section right now, actually, and they have some very realistic-looking food options over there. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Oh, I did not.
It's a crock pot full of chili, and for a moment I thought that the College Football Hall of Fame just whips up a batch every morning and they go display it. But this is a tailgating spot. We've got all the various trophies over there. It's a really cool area. They've got some new things actually this year. There's an AI-generated, I want to say like you input yourself in different situations. Laura Rutledge was sharing it yesterday on her story, but it's a great place to bring your kiddos. It's a great place to come walk around, and I enjoy it every year. I love the helmet wall. It's very well done.
It is. College Football Hall of Fame is cool. You need to visit it when you're in Atlanta, whether here for a game or not. It's a cool place to visit. I guarantee you, Lance, we'll have a bunch of kids behind us at some point tonight because they do field trips here all the time.
We can only hope that they're really loud and irritate Dunaway.
That'll never happen, LT. I'm in a great mood this morning.
Hey, the last time we were broadcasting from there, you remember we had this is before a lot of people were doing the visual element that we were doing, and we had the little camera set up, and people continued to walk in front. Somebody's foot caught it, and the damn thing was shaking, and Dunaway's head was about to explode.
It was. Yeah. Mine was too. I was with Jim. You remember
because I was sitting in the lap of this other broadcast crew beside us here. I kept apologizing like, dude, I'm sorry.
You remember the girl from Jacksonville, Lance, that just leaped right through the shot?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So E.G. wasn't with us.
He's not.
Hey, that was
she gets it.
that was the same day as your dad's dead, right?
Yeah,
That
it
was.
was.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
the same day, but
Epic day.
It bothers me when a random fan does it, or if one of the student athletes who are walking by and does it. But she was in the business. She was running to get back to do an interview in her radio situation,
Yeah.
and decided that her getting back to her show was more important than our show.
Right.
And just ran through and leaped over our stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
There was like stuff sitting there to try to block you from doing what she did.
And she said, "To hell with you guys. I got to get back to my AM radio show in Jacksonville, Florida."
And it was almost, Lance, like an artistically like
She had some style to it, some flair.
Yeah. She had
no.
done floor before in gymnastics.
Yeah, she had. It was almost like she was. It was a bet. Like, I bet I can run through and do a ballet move in front of that crew over there that think they're so high and mighty with TV cameras and lights. But we're here at the Hall of Fame. We're looking forward to this weekend at the SEC Championship. We've got a little controversy.
Oh, no.
A little controversy already we'll get into as soon as LT tells us about one of our great sponsors. That's our friends at Hemp Hill. Saw the Hemp Hill guys yesterday. Some great storytelling there. And they get you ready for Lance's Lock on some of the championship games tonight.
Yeah, Brown, we got another Rick Trickett story, and then our man Bo added one from basic training. And man, I haven't laughed so hard at some really, really dark stuff, but you know where my mind goes. But our friends at Hemp Hill, just great guys. They've got my house heated the right way right now. Again, they had to come out. They had to mess around with that gas fireplace. Whether you experience any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. This is the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of these issues, whether they arise in your home or business. Call them. They're ready to serve. 205-229-2090. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
MyBookie.ag, code next round is where you can play all the games. MyBookie.ag, code next round. Let's take a look at tonight. Jacksonville State, 4.5-point favorite as they play Western Kentucky. Because my Gamecocks are about to win a conference championship. Dunaway, are you not fired up for that?
I am so fired up for that.
Okay.
Double OCKS. What is it?
Double O. It's big C, little O, little C. Yes.
No. If y'all are going to do it, get it right.
I can't even spell it right.
I know. Irony that you can't spell that word right.
They don't spell it in Spanish.
Big C.
Big C, little O, CKS. Big C, little O, CKS, a 4-point favorite tonight. Tulane, a 4.5-point favorite over Army in the American Championship. UNLV and Boise meeting on the blue turf, and the Mountain Conference Championship game. Boise State, a 4.5-point favorite. Lance, you still feel, I don't know if it's a game you've given out at Lance's Lock. If so, hit the pass button. But you have said you kind of like UNLV in this spot. You feeling still good about that?
Well, you look at Ashton Jeanty. I mean, a couple of things. Obviously, whoever wins this game is going to punch their ticket, so it's a must-watch for college football fans. But when they played earlier this year, and it was a really, really tight game, you look at the two losses this year for Barry Odom and UNLV, a combined 8 points to obviously Boise State earlier, and then they lost by 3 in overtime to Syracuse. But UNLV is the only team to hold Ashton Jeanty to under 4 yards a carry. He had 128 on 33 carries. He's gone 125 plus in all 12 games. But if there was a team that kind of slowed him down, it was UNLV.
So you can play that game there. Lance giving you some thoughts there. Arizona State tomorrow down to a 1.5-point favorite in the Big 12 championship game. Winner gets in as they play Iowa State. Texas here in Atlanta, a 3-point favorite now over the Georgia Bulldogs. That's ticked up a little bit. Oregon, a 3.5-point favorite in Indy over Penn State in the Big 10 championship. And then in the one, a lot of people in our state will be paying attention to, SMU minus 2.5 as they take on the Clemson Tigers. By the way, we don't have to do it right now. But at some point, I've talked to some people in the SEC, their feel for this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I can tell you what the SEC feel is here in Atlanta.
Well, let's get to that in the next segment.
You got it.
We'll start setting the table for the college football playoff weekends. But I want to get to the controversy.
Just real quick, I'm sorry. MyBookie.ag is where I got all those. Code next round, MyBookie.ag, 300% deposit bonus in the casino. You make your deposit, they give you a 300% casino bonus to use right away. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round.
I'll start carving out 10 minutes for your MyBookie.
I tell you what, Jim, I was just going through the helpful point spreads. For all of our fans out there.
Yeah, Brown and I are a little punchy. Late night last night when we got over here, and Brown actually, EG, I was very impressed
was Brown
with this,
hugging the covers last night?
Too, Lance. We were able to make a walk from our hotel,
Okay.
which is the new hotel by Mercedes, all the way here to the Hall of Fame,
Right.
without ever going outside. And he actually went and found the passageway and the walkway to where no wrong turns to get from here. He did it last night.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So Lance, it's every bit of 20 degrees here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it feels
I mean,
like the
I'm-
joke around here is everybody's saying welcome to the Big Ten championship game.
I mean, the wind is howling.
The wind is howling, Lance, and I was like, I am not tomorrow morning going to walk all the way to the College Football Hall of Fame from our hotel. I really don't want to get my car out of LA either. There's got to be a way to get from our hotel without going outside, and I found it last night. So that's what it was, Lance. I mean, you would you hate cold weather. You would be miserable. I know it's the same way in Birmingham, but it is frigid here.
Well, that's what's interesting. Maddie at our Bud Light game night said she had an interesting conversation with Dunaway, and Dunaway's like, man, Lance is really going to regret not going to Atlanta. She told me that this morning, and I was like, there ain't a chance in hell.
I said we were in back-to-back weekends of road trips, and I'm 50-50 on wanting to go to the Floribama next weekend because I have things I could do with my family. I'm making a choice, and I'm of course choosing going to the Floribama. And she's like, well, why are you choosing going to the Floribama if you have something to do with your family? And I said, probably the same reason tonight when you're riding on the way home, Lance is going to say, God, we should have gone to Atlanta. And she laughed. She goes, I guarantee you. He says that. And I said, next week, if I say I'm not going to the Floribama, it'll be Friday or it'll be Thursday at 12:30. I'll be like, God, I should have gone to the Floribama.
Right.
I have such bad FOMO.
Yeah.
And I just thought maybe you would have a little FOMO about Atlanta this weekend. You've had so many great nights over here at SEC Championship.
Do you have FOMO, Lance? Do you have FOMO?
No, not at all. And that's what's funny. Like, she didn't bring it up to me until I said it this morning. I was like, man, I am so glad when I saw 24 degrees that we did not go to Atlanta. And she was like, well, that's funny. Dunaway told me that you would be regretting not going.
Yeah, no, and she agreed with me now. I hope she didn't throw me under the bus. She was like, 100%. As soon as we get in the car, he'll be like, we should have gone to Atlanta.
I turned my car on this morning to leave to come here. 19 degrees.
Yeah. Not great.
19.
Yeah. Well, I was driving over last night. I was like, God, it's 34. And then it was, God, it's 32. And then I got a text from Forrester, Moody just got screwed on an inadvertent whistle. And I thought to myself, dude, are you cold outside at Protective Stadium?
Oh, it had to be
It looks
frigid.
freezing.
Yes.
Yeah. Forrester, by the way, tell me about this inadvertent whistle. What happened last night to Moody? I mean, Moody, for those of you that are watching us around the country, local high school, state playoffs going on in the Birmingham area for the state of Alabama. Moody is where Forrester's daughters go to school, and they were playing for a state championship last night, and y'all were rallying back, and did y'all kick the go-ahead field goal or something?
No. So Moody's down. They fell behind 14-0. Lost their best wide receiver on what should have been a targeting call. But
Okay.
I'm not salty about that.
We can tell.
Yeah. So they rally back, shorthanded, tie it up. Then with roughly 6 minutes to go in the game, Moody's got the ball. It's 4th and 1. They come close to, I think they probably had it on the 4th and 1, but the kid fumbles the ball probably about 10 yards forward. Moody recovers the fumble. They award the first down back at the spot of the fumble. They say first down Moody. Montgomery Catholic throws the challenge flag on the spot.
Whoa. There's a challenge flag in high school football?
Yeah. Yeah, you can review stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
So after the challenge, basically they come back and say, hey, there was an inadvertent whistle while the ball was loose.
Oh.
We're going to do it over.
Oh, so they played the down over?
Yeah, they played the down over.
Oh, wow.
No, I don't think that's the rule. I think inadvertent whistle ends the play. I don't know. What do I know?
The refs gave themselves a do-over. Yeah. Then Moody got stuffed on the do-over 4th down. And then
they looked at me like I had a third eye here. Lance, did you know we had a challenge flag in high school?
I did not.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Was there a point spread on this game, Lance? I mean, that's
I would have believed the point spread before I would have a challenge flag. I watch some of these college football games that are not the main broadcast, an SEC broadcast. I watch some of these lesser conferences, and I'm always amazed they've got replay at all.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean Georgia Southern. That broadcast is fantastic.
It is very. We got the first down line.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I know.
big time.
Big time.
Lance, don't you feel like inadvertent whistle's the ultimate bailout? Like they could say that about anything and gets them out of a bind, right?
Yeah, I don't understand that though. I mean, this is when you've got to come together. You got to be able to make a decision, but to replay the down, that's criminal.
Yeah.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
And then on that
Makes no sense.
ensuing possession, Montgomery Catholic ended up kicking what wound up being the winning field goal.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers to everyone out of Moody there after that loss. And to your family, I know, very emotional night in the Forrester household there. Was it cold? Which is how we got into this conversation. Were you freezing?
Oh, it was rough. It was cold, and I had so many layers on. Had all the hot hands. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't stand cold. Can't stand it. All right, here we go. We're in Atlanta. Here's the controversy. Controversy is brought to you by our friends right there at. Let's make it New York Butcher. The New York Butcher controversy of the day. Okay.
Yeah. You know what's not controversial? New York Butcher.
New York Butcher. Well, I'm bringing it up. LT, I'll tell you about New York Butcher after I tell you. I'm bringing it up because it does involve a big piece of beef. Bevo not allowed to be here at the SEC championship game. They requested Bevo to be part of the travel. The SEC said you can't bring Bevo because there's not enough room for him at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They remember he's 17, he or she, I assume it's a he, 1,700 pounds. The horn wingspan is 58 inches, and there's just not enough room to put the cage anywhere inside the arena in the playing surface. So Bevo was told he couldn't come. By the way, that also means if Texas plays in the Peach Bowl, wouldn't be able to come. And if Texas plays in the national championship, will not be able to come. So Bevo and Mercedes-Benz not getting along. One of the Texas fans that I bumped into last night, not very happy. We'll ask Chip Brown if that's a controversy for them. But if you remember, I think it's the last time these two teams played, Lance, Texas and Georgia. Bevo tried to get out of that cage to get after Uga.
That was down in New Orleans, right, Lance? That was in the bowl game.
Yeah, so you're going to tell me Bevo's not allowed in Mercedes Dome, but they let Jelly roll in there? Really
right.
confused.
Apparently.
Taylor's looking for all the end of the year video material. That one's going to be a late ad. That's in there. That's a great line right there.
Hey, if you're looking for the
fantastic.
finest selection of age-certified Angus prime beef tenderloins, prime rib roast, those premium Duroc pork ribs, crown roast, Applewood smoked spiral sliced hams, all of this stuff for the holiday season, or you just want to have that great meal at home tonight, you can do it from the New York Butcher Shop. Fresh meats, smoked meats, prepared foods, catering, fine selection of wines and desserts. Get in, see Jim and that incredible staff. 2 locations, the original Cabo Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well done service.
Do you know this is not, if we can't do one, we won't do either. Uga gets to be here, right?
Uga's going to be here.
Yeah, okay. So it's not, this is just like, hey, sorry about your luck. You know, your steer's too big.
Yeah.
I get it.
Your mascot's too big.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
You
a
get
large-
it?
Yeah, I mean, well,
It is
yes
the
and no.
largest live mascot in the world, according to
and they're
the
aggressive.
Longhorns.
They're aggressive.
Well, this sounds, Lance, like to me, this sounds like the Atlanta Falcons saying, all right, this is a professional football field. We don't want some bull taking a crap out here.
Well, I mean, keep in mind,
digging his hooves. Yeah.
keep in mind, you have the ESPN set.
Yeah.
You have the game day set. You have the SEC network set. You'll have them at separate sidelines locations. You have all the bench stuff. There's just and it is a pro stadium, so the seating is close.
That's right.
There's just not a lot of places to
No.
put it. And you have the sideline suites. You can't block them.
Yeah.
With a
True.
cage and,
No,
and a big bull.
This Lance,
that I imagine occasionally goes number 2.
occasionally does. Lance, I hate this because it is, we do sacrifice college tradition to play in NFL stadiums, but I mean, Jim is right. It's a great line about Jelly Roll, but Jim is right. There really is nowhere to put the steer. You've been in this stadium a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure it's crowded. Space is limited. These NFL stadiums are not nearly as big as your typical college stadium, including Darrell Royal K Stadium or Darrell K Royal Stadium in Austin. I don't know how big of a deal this is. It seems like it's the world against Texas. Is this another thing that Sarkisian can throw in there? The media is against us. All fan bases are against us. Now they won't even let our mascot in here.
Yeah. Well, two things. First of all, CU and Buff in the mybookie.ag chat room says the Falcons let the Falcons take a crap on that field 8 weeks of season. So I don't know why they're worried about it.
Yeah. What Kirk Cousins did last week.
Yes. But number 2, Lance, and this is interesting. So last night when we got in, I wanted to catch the second half of the game. So there's a sports bar in our hotel, and I went down and met our friends from Night Edie and some people from the SEC, and Chip Brown came down and joined us. And Chip's a big Detroit fan, so he was down watching the game with us, and he brought up the fact, because somebody asked him, how many Texas fans will be here. His estimation was it'll probably be a 70-30 Georgia crowd, and he said, make no mistake about it, the white uniform choice, Lance, that was a choice they made because they are taking this as a road game. They're like, we are going into a hostile environment. It is going to be the world against us. We are going to play a road game. So when you said you don't know how big a deal this will be, it wouldn't surprise me if they make it a big deal. Like, they won't even let our mascot in, guys. We are going on the road to play the SEC championship game.
Yeah, and I see that. I see that angle. It's working for Sark so far. They're 11-1. They're playing in this game. I disagree with Chip. I mean, 70-30, and Dunaway made the point, a lot of these Georgia fans, can walk over from their condos. They can drive in from an hour, 2 hours away. But I think Texas fans, I think it's going to be 50-50. I really do.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, Chip did not think so. And some of the people from the SEC kind of sounded like they didn't think so. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. But I'm telling you, Texas is – and Chip will be with us later, and he can explain more. They are treating this as a road game. I think Sark is selling his team on this may be a neutral site game. We're going on the road, guys. This is us having to show our toughness on the road like we did last week in College Station.
Yeah, I think we'll also learn very quickly, and he'll never admit it because Greg Sankey is the ultimate professional, but there will come a time where Texas will be a thorn in his side at some point. He'll have to slap Texas on the wrist and put them back in line with the other 15 institutions in the league. And here's another example. Remember after the incident in the first meeting between Texas and Georgia, where all the fans were throwing stuff on the field, and the SEC, part of their penalty towards Texas was you had to do a complete investigation, do all the videos and searching and all of that to find the perpetrators and have them penalized as well and ban them. Texas releases this week the findings from that long investigation, Lance. Number of people arrested or fined, 0. 0. Couldn't identify Billy Bob in a crowd.
So in the Holy War, we had one bottle of water that hits a chick in the face, and they're able to get that one person, identify one, and you can't identify one out of like 400?
Yeah, I mean, you had like Lance said, you got 400 to choose from. Just pick one of them. Yeah, just so you can say, we got
he was
7.
in charge. He started it.
Yeah.
We have some Texas fans coming in, actually.
Yeah. We'll ask them if they wouldn't admit throwing water bottles right now. I guarantee you, they're off scot-free. A complete investigation from Chris Del Conte and his team. 0 perpetrators were identified and found.
Weren't they threatening that they would not be able to attend an athletic event?
Banned for life.
Banned for life.
Yeah.
Banned for life.
Yeah.
Or I thought at least the rest of the year. And
I thought it was banned for life, but maybe not.
Yikes.
And then we will see. But as Brown will tell you, he's not a big fan of investigations that go on in the state of Texas. He thinks everything's a conspiracy theory out there.
I mean, you got to admit. I mean, I've said it many times. Lee Harvey Oswald did not shoot John F. Kennedy. Yeah. I think it's a given at this point.
One more thing in our opening segment here, the show being brought to you by our friends at New Life Art. New Life Art. The great Daniel A. Moore there has painted so many great moments in Alabama football history. He's ready to do the next one. The most recent, though, was the legend, 6 national championships that he has put together for you to order. DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. Go check that out. And don't forget, great Christmas gift for the Alabama fan in your life, the annual calendar with some featured Daniel Moore art on each month of that calendar. Use the coupon code, which is TNR, TNR. Get you 20% off the purchase right there. And that's the legend, DanielMooreArt.com, a tribute to Nick Saban's 6 national championships, DanielMooreArt.com. All right, we're getting ready for the championship games tonight. But, Lance, you'll admit the one of only a handful of games that really matter this weekend is tonight. It is UNLV, it is Boise, and this is really the start of our college football playoffs tonight. The team that wins that game has a chance to go win a national championship. They could play their way and be Cinderella. This is the winner tonight becomes our first Cinderella in the college football playoff era.
Yeah, look, and Spencer Danielson in year one of being full-time coach for Boise State has done a really good job with a team that I thought was a little overrated coming into the season. They have survived and advanced. But you look at UNLV and the job Barry Odom's done. They've won a school record 8 consecutive games. They've done it with making a quarterback change in season with one of the guys, and that's another angle. We never talk about the dude that opted out. I can't even remember his name at this point, but it hasn't affected the running Rebels at all. And not only is Boise trying to get into the postseason, or I should say the playoffs for the first time in, I guess we've never had a Group 5 team get here. So this is a monumental game, but not only that, they also would love to get Ashton Jeanty the Heisman Trophy. I know Travis Hunter is your kind of a massive favorite right now, but Jeanty is 340 yards away from breaking Barry Sanders' record. If he breaks the record tonight, I've got a feeling Jeanty will win this Heisman Trophy.
And I got a feeling Boise will be in the playoffs if he gets 340 yards.
Here's the irony, EG. I'll let you chime in on this first. Boise State, it seems like if they win, they get a bye.
Yep.
If they lose, they're not even in the tournament. It's either a buy or bust.
Yeah, high stakes, high reward. And as a Group of 5 member myself, I'm cheering on the Group of 5 to make it deep into the playoff format. But it's interesting how each conference championship has such different stakes, in my opinion, right? You have SMU, Clemson, but then you've got Georgia, Texas, and now you've got UNLV and Boise State. And each of them, the implications, what happens next varies across the board.
Yeah, but Lance, that is weird that you Boise tonight either gets a first-round bye, maybe even as high as a 3 seed.
That's right.
Maybe even as high as a 3 seed, Lance, or they don't even go to the playoffs. I don't know that we ever see anything like that, because even in the NFL, if you don't get the bye, Lance, you're still like a 2 or 3 seed, right?
Yeah, look, this is something we haven't seen before. What would be interesting if UNLV wins a game, Clemson wins their game, and then Iowa State wins their game? What does that do to seeding all over the place?
So Clemson wins?
Yeah, so you got the furthest back, obviously, ACC team. Yeah. One's got to get in. Then you would have Iowa State, who was behind Arizona State, and I could pull these rankings on the fly for you. And then if UNLV was to beat Boise State, I just wonder what it does to the overall seedings of the 12 teams.
Hang on. In your scenario, what does SMU do? Do they fall out and Alabama stays in? I don't guess that really matters, but just tell me.
Yeah, I would think that SMU, like I saw the playoff predictor today, that Alabama has a 99.7% chance if SMU wins, and they have a 72% chance if SMU loses.
Yeah.
I believe your buys at that point, and this is going to be crazy, and why the system is flawed, your buys would be Oregon, Texas, Clemson, and Iowa State.
Yep.
Would all get buys.
That is absolutely ridiculous if Clemson and Iowa State get buys. And those games are coin flips.
Well, one of them's getting a bye.
Yep. And
if Clemson wins, otherwise it's SMU.
But the way the rankings were this past week, if they did not change, providing Penn State lost and held their position, it would be UNLV at Penn State, and then nothing else would really change. But it could juggle some things up for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, I could stomach the Boise bye. Look, I know I'm just saying based on the fact that they are in the top 10 right now. The same with SMU. I know people are going to go on the other side of that. But if Clemson with 3 losses comes out of nowhere and an Iowa State team that is sitting at 16th, if they both have first-round buys, that is a major flaw.
Yep. We will talk about SMU's place in the college football playoff with a loss. There are some growing feelings about where this committee is. Brown had something he teased ahead. What was it again?
From talking to people inside the SEC, just the general feel right now.
Okay.
And it kind of Dennis Dodd has done some reporting on the same thing I'm about to tell you.
So that was what I wanted to bring up. So we'll put those two together when we come back. The show from the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta being brought to you by our friends at A+.
Yeah, if you're tired of that old outdated bath or shower, we were in my house, and my wife decided it was time to redo our master bathroom, so she scoured the internet looking for the right person for the job. To do that, she talked to certain contractors, people that had used contractors, read all the reviews she could read, and she selected Brad Bell, A+ Towel Home Remodeling. Now, I'm glad she did that because his crews were tremendous. Brad was very hands-on as well, make sure we were pleased every step of the way. You can see more at aplusbathandkitchen.com. That is aplusbathandkitchen.com. See some before and afters. Scott will show you ours in our bathroom, Lance's as well. Brad specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. It's not to say it's all he does, but it is his specialty. And that is good because you spend a lot of time in those rooms, and you're going to get your money back on those rooms when you go to sell at your home there. 205-422-1758 or aplusbathandkitchen.com. Brad Bell, 205-422-1758. More from the College Football Hall of Fame and the SEC Championship game in Atlanta after this.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today. Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the fourth quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by deuce number 2, Xavier Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Back to Atlanta in the College Football Hall of Fame SEC Championship Week. Tomorrow, 4 Eastern, 3 Central on ABC is Texas and Georgia for the SEC title, and a bye, most likely, for the winner into the next round of the College Football Playoff Selection Show, by the way. A lot of you are asking. Same time as last year, 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 Eastern, right before the NFL kicks off on Sunday morning. So a quick turnaround for the selection committee after that ACC championship game, which is prime time, the final game on Saturday night of this championship weekend in college football. But more on what the future of the playoffs could look like and what could happen this weekend as we roll on here on this championship weekend from the College Football Hall of Fame, being brought to you by our buddy Rodney Scott Barbecue, and all the great food there. LT, tell us about it.
Yeah, Rodney Scott's, they've got 2 great locations. You can stop in for lunch or dinner. Right when you hit the door, you're going to smell that pit-cooked barbecue. It is absolutely fantastic. But for this holiday season, you can order the spatchcock turkey. You can get the homemade Southern Sides desserts. They've also got the gift cards available. Great stocking stuffer from our man Rodney Scott. They serve the James Beard award-winning barbecue. Support local this holiday season. Rodney Scott's Barbecue, locally owned and operated. And you can pre-order online, RodneyScottsBBQ.com.
All right, Rodney Scott's Barbecue fun for the weekend. E.G., did you run the
I just ran the 40.
You ran the 40-yard dash down there?
And it didn't pick me up for the first 20 yards. So I went all out, and then, yeah. They were really nice. So I met some Texas fans.
Yeah.
They
So are you in heels?
I had to take my shoes off.
Okay, so you ran barefoot.
What
Yeah.
was your 40 time? Lance, hang on. Let's go over under, Lance. Did you get a time? Did you get a time?
I got a time, but it's not accurate.
Oh, it's not accurate.
Yeah.
EG. Lance, what would you go over under on EG's 40?
I would say
In a dress.
EG's 40 in a dress would be a 6'1".
6'1".
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, that dress is, it's not the tightest, but it's long. I can't imagine you getting any
Yeah.
leg pumping.
No, I had it, but it was a 13 because it didn't pick me up. So I'm standing there. I'm like, why am I not going anywhere? And it was like, are you still there? So I put my heart and soul into it. And I guess my feet weren't hitting the right thing. So it didn't account for any of it.
13?
Yeah.
I know. I'm like,
So that was Dunaway's time.
I guess I'm so
Did the screen say, "Are you Jim Dunaway"?
No, it said, are you still there? After
Yeah.
I had just done
It's the
this
same thing. It's the same thing.
incredible performance.
It's the same speed.
And the Texas people, though, they did not throw water bottles on the field.
Okay, good.
They were at that game. They were in
Yep.
Tuscaloosa last year. They're very happy to be a part of the SEC.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so he was very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know how sad it is walking around the Big 12 Hall of Fame?
I know.
Yeah. Welcome
Yeah.
to Atlanta.
A 13.
all right,
I
so
think
let's
Gene
get into-
Stallings could break a 13 right now.
I'm just so mad because when I tell y'all that for my first I was in the zone. I was like, I'm gonna be on his account. So he gave me his little all access pass, and I said, I really want to make you proud. And I feel bad because I mean, they said, they're like, man, you put your heart and soul into that.
Why did we not video that?
Yeah, I know.
I
That's
mean,
content.
you have these cocktail earrings on, the dress on. I mean, we need video.
Well, I don't know if you can do it again. You can't catch your breath. I didn't know you were this out of shape.
Yes, I can.
I didn't know you're this bad out of shape.
I know. I eat Snickers for breakfast. I mean, what do you?
Yeah.
She did eat a Snickers for breakfast.
We may need a corporate gym membership.
I know,
We're winded after the 40.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. You did run back down here, though.
I did rant. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any protein in the diet, EG? Because I did see you eating gummy worms for lunch the other day in the green room.
This has
How much protein is that?
Not a sponsor, by the way.
Damn it.
I think everybody. This is her breakfast today. Is Snickers.
4 grams protein.
4 grams, Lance.
Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
It's a good way to start the day. All right. So the headline from Dennis Dodd, and I'll let you tell us your sourcing, and then we'll circle back to Dodd. But here is the discussion. SEC Big Ten commissioners have serious concerns about the human element on selecting the college football playoffs, which means, of course, we could be going back to the old computers and the BCS standards. Brownie, take us first off what you were talking about this weekend, and then we'll talk about big picture down the road.
Well, so Lance, you said with an SMU loss, Alabama's number, according to the All-State Playoff Predictor, was what?
72%. And you and I both agreed that was kind of, I said I still think 75% they get in yesterday. Yeah. You kind of agreed Dunaway was more 25-75.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah, so I'm with you, Lance. I think 75%. So let's kind of, driving over here last night, kind of where I thought we were standing. And, I go, hanging out watching the Lions and just talking to some people from the SEC. I can tell you just from talking to people inside the SEC, they aren't as confident as you and I are, Lance. I think what Jim is saying, they're concerned about the makeup of that room. And, I guess I just need to pull up who's in the room, right?
Yeah.
Because honest to God, I don't know outside of Ward Manuel.
But Ward Manuel is the chairman, so I don't know if he's a voting member. Right? Doesn't he just run the conversation
and do the interviews with Reese?
Yeah, I don't know if he actually votes. But so while you look it up, I will just say, so you're saying that the people you talk to that are sort of with knowledge of how the whole process works, because of the makeup of that human committee, is concerned that if SMU wins, no problem. If SMU loses, it could be a problem getting that fourth SEC team into the playoff.
All I'm telling you, Lance,
i.e. Alabama,
is people I talk to in the Southeastern Conference are not as confident as you and I are.
Yeah, is that the reversal jinx, or is that really this is what we're hearing, these are our sourcing behind the scenes, this is what we believe. Now, I did say this last night at our Bud Light show from the grocery, that the more media people continue to push this, and the more Rat Lash Lee you hear, that this could maybe possibly go the other way. But again, I continue to go back, and I know you're not supposed to be punished for a conference championship game, but Ward Manuel said Miami versus Alabama, top 25 wins, strength of schedule.
Right. But from my perspective, too, you have to ask the question, we've talked about it, do you use that same logic if SMU loses?
Right. And that was my concern, is that the people in that room would not punish Georgia if they lose here, right? They're not going to punish Penn State if they lose, and I don't think they're going to punish SMU if they lose. Whether it's right or wrong, I just don't think they will. So that's why I'm so concerned about it. And so in a nutshell, that's sort of what they're concerned about?
Well, but yes, I think so. I think they feel like their two guys are in no matter what, right? That Georgia is not going to be penalized for a loss,
right?
And they're not going to fall out of the race. They're in Atlanta. They are safe. And they feel like what we have always said is moving forward, the two teams that will play next door here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, as long as they enter this weekend in the 12-team rankings, as long as they are ranked and in the playoffs, they're fine. That's what the SEC feels
forever and ever.
But I think they are fearful that they're going to apply the same logic to the ACC and overlook the obvious, what they believe, Lance, to be obvious flaws of SMU. Like, I think the people I talk to in the SEC are like, we feel like, I mean, they didn't say it like this, Lance, but I think they feel like they deserve the benefit of the doubt because they're the SEC more so than the ACC and the schedule that SMU has played.
Okay, the ACC is a Power Four, but it's not the same as the SEC. You guys will give me that, right?
I agree, and that's what they feel like.
Well,
but I think fear that this committee doesn't feel
Okay, but let me ask you guys this, and I know it is different because it is Group 5, but tonight, Boise State has had an incredible season. They have got one of the best losses in all of college football. We had Cladd or somebody on the other day saying you've got to reward 11 wins. I think it was Luganville, actually. Boise is 11-1 with a 3-point loss at Alton back in September. If they lose to UNLV, they're going to get punished for that.
Yep.
So by that logic, they went to their conference championship game. Without a conference championship game, they're in the college football playoff. Back to Rhett Lashlee. If they all got COVID, Boise's in.
Yeah. I mean, right now, yeah, you do wonder why is the Mountain West playing a conference champ? Like, they look at it now and say, should we even play a conference championship game moving forward? I mean, they're going to get a team in either way, but they
have to. So because
you got to play a game, you can't just declare a champion.
But it's not just Mountain West. It could be the American.
Yeah.
It could
The
be
Sun Belt.
It could be the Sun Belt.
No. But I'm saying, can they declare a champion without playing a game?
Oh, they could.
Because never did you foresee this being a possibility. I don't think if you're a Group of 5 team, that what we talked about earlier is I've got a team that could either be a 3 with a bye or out of the playoffs based on one game.
Yeah. This would be more tricky, LT, for the Mountain West if Tulane had taken care of business against Memphis and then beat Army in this championship game, because then what would be happening is a Boise win in their end,
So I was about to say.
a UNLV win, and would have been the winner of the Tulane Army game.
Well,
that would have been really crazy.
This defeats
that
a
would have
lot.
been 2 of the Group of 5 bowl championship games this weekend. That would have been playoff implications. You know what I mean?
But here's
that
where
would
the
have been really exciting.
contradictions come, because head-to-head means something, right? Head-to-head's very important. Boise's already beaten UNLV. So UNLV comes back with the revenge game, and they're 1-1 this year, but Boise goes all the way from number 10 to completely out of the college football playoff, and UNLV's in.
Yeah, go ask 2011 LSU how they feel about that.
Yeah, but at least they
had
had
one against Alabama.
Yeah, I get that, but at least they were in the game to win the national championship. And I guess you can make the argument Boise's in the game to get to the college football playoff. But, that's another thing that I would pull to the side if I'm campaigning against SMU losing in this game. Well, Boise lost in the game, and now they're out.
Yeah. Well, and I real quick want to go back to a question Lance asked me. Do you feel like maybe this was SEC people just trying to tamp down the expectations and play it safe? I would answer you this way, Lance. A lot of those same SEC people last year were telling me Alabama is in over Florida State. The SEC champion is not getting left. And I was, I know Jim said it and I said it too. And it was one of the reasons I was very, I was very consistent with that, because people in the SEC that I trust were telling me the SEC champion's not getting left out of this. So some of these same people were extremely confident about that situation last year, and it played out. They are far less confident this year, which I find interesting.
And so how does it impact us moving forward? Let's talk about Dennis Dodd's reporting after we tell you about a couple of our great sponsors. One of those being our friends with CPAP Plus. CPAP Plus, LT, tell us about them.
Yeah, our friends Woody and Joe, they are CPAP users themselves, and they know exactly what you're looking for when you come into one of those 3 great locations with hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Trust CPAP Plus for all of your CPAP needs. CPAP Plus, where every night matters. If you're looking for the best CPAP gear with personal service you can trust, visit CPAP Plus. 3 convenient locations: Pelham, Highway 280, Trustful. Mention the next round. They got a $20 credit for you there. Stop by today at CPAP Plus, where you're going to find the best service and equipment, all in stock, ready for you.
Hey, don't forget when you're doing your Christmas shopping to include Academy Sports and Outdoors, and go by and see our friends at the brand new location right there on Highway 280. It is just off 280 in the Target Shopping Center in the old Best Buy. You cannot miss it. Gorgeous new store. They've got all the name brands you trust, like Titleist, Carhartt, Shimano, many, many more, Yeti. They've got all those right there at Academy Sports and Outdoors. You could shop online. You get free delivery. You can do pickup. I mean, they make it so easy for you. So make that your start for Christmas shopping. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Make sure you visit the new store right there on Highway 280, still in their grand opening phase, in the old Best Buy in the Target Shopping Center, 4610 U.S. Highway 280.
Who is the human element that the Big Ten and SEC folks are concerned about this year and really moving forward now? Remember, this format that we have, 12 teams with the selection committee, is the format we have this year and next year. And then it's a new TV contract, a new redesign that could come with 14 16 teams and a new way of deciding who's in here, and why is Dennis Dodd reporting that there's concern with the Big Ten and the SEC?
I'll just read SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey's quote from Dennis's article. It's right in the very start of the article. Dennis says that SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey laid the groundwork for this year's frantic finish a year ago with his famous Sesame Street line as part of the declaration that a playoff without the SEC isn't the real world of college football. One of these things is not like the other, and that's the SEC conference. So, again, it goes back to what I'm telling you, and this is not breaking news. I think everybody knows the SEC feels this way about the SEC, but they feel like, and I think if Greg Sankey were being honest with you, he would include the Big Ten in this, but he's only fighting for his conference.
That's right.
But I think Greg Sankey would say deference should be given to the SEC and the Big Ten. But he is the one that is going to campaign hard for the SEC. So it has led to the discussion that, are we even getting this right to start with?
Yeah, and keep in mind that the Big Ten and the SEC twice this summer got together and had meetings without anybody else in college football. It was the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the SEC athletic directors, school presidents, commissioners, associate commissioners, associate commissioners. They all got together twice in Nashville to talk about the future of college football. And that's why I believe what Klatt was hinting at the other day, there'll be some way of the SEC and Big Ten controlling, but the human element's what they're concerned about. So that either is two ways you go there, LT. You either go back to a BCS-like formula, or you go to what Klatt was talking about, where all you do is play your way in NFL style from the SEC and the Big Ten, and there's no selection process at all. Which would you be happier with?
I mean, I kind of like the setup of, the greatest Saturday we've ever seen in the history of college football. So I would lean that way. But if not, I do want to scrap this committee. I want to go back, and I know we used to laugh about it. So computers are picking the two teams that play for the college football championship.
I know.
I really don't have a problem with it now. I did want to update you guys on a number that I think you'll find very interesting. As of Monday morning, Alabama was plus 105 to make the college football playoff. You guys want to guess where this number is? And the reason I bring it up, because Dunaway, if you are so anti-Alabama getting in, you can have a win-win situation by playing Alabama not to get in.
Ooh, there you go. So you win either Bama gets in or you win money.
That's usually the way I gamble. So I dare I say, tell me more.
Okay, so I don't know if this is available right now in mybookie.ag.
I'll
Brent,
check.
you're going to have to confirm that, because I looked at a couple of local books, and all they've got is to win the national championship. And by the way, Alabama's odds have shortened to 15-1 to win the national championship. But right now, Alabama to make the 24-25 college football playoff, yes, it was plus 105 on Monday. It was minus 200 on Tuesday. The Friday before the selection show, minus 430. They are plus.
Wow.
They're plus 300 to not make it. So, Donnelly, that means you put $100. Alabama doesn't make it, you win $300.
So where mybookie.ag, and you can play this at mybookie.ag, Lance. I'm looking at it right now. Code next round when you sign on. To reach the playoff, Alabama, yes, is minus 370, so slightly lower there.
But still,
no is plus 270. But that's still pretty convincing odds, right?
Yeah, it's very, very convincing. Again, this is not foolproof. It's not going to happen. But right now, if you want to hedge your bet, if you're an Alabama fan, go to mybookie.ag, put in that code next round, and you can get $270 to your $100. So, it's one of those win-win things for me.
I've got it pulled up. If you want me to just play it for you, you can give me the cash.
Oh, thank you. I'll do it right now. Pay my way to South Bend. Oh, wait, I would lose money and still go to South Bend to watch Alabama.
Those are heavy odds, though. I mean, I would say that's one of the reasons when you look at the playoff predictor, Alabama 99.7% if SMU wins, and still 72% if they lose.
Yeah. We'll bring this up with Fuhrman, because that's just one thing, Lance. I don't know how you put odds on what people are thinking. Now, you can use track record and things like that, but that just seems like it's easier to put odds on a college football game because you've got all this data. We're talking about people's minds and what they're thinking.
Yeah.
That's kind of, Lance, isn't that a little more difficult to put odds on, you think?
It probably is, but there could be, some inside information at the same time. When you look at Alabama locked at 11, they can't fall backwards. They play into the fact that the probability is SMU is going to win this game. Slight favorite, minus 2.5. That's got something to do with it. But, yeah, I think this is a little bit more difficult. This is This is past. It does have some element of real time, but that's a heavy number.
Yeah, it's a big number.
And you factor in the odds of SMU winning the football game or not as well. We'll tell you about a couple of our sponsors. Let's talk about how SMU can win the game or lose the game. While I'm telling you about the Pants Store, Tyler, if you would, cue up cut number 3, Rhett Lashley, and we'll talk about his mindset going into this game. The Pants Store can get you in the right mindset when it comes to your great Christmas gifts. Anybody in your family who's an Alabama or Auburn fan would love the great stuff from the Pants Store. The great quarter zips, the hoodies, the sweatshirts, all the golf shirts, anything you want, Alabama and Auburn gear, they got it for you at the Pants Store. Great high-quality name brands, and you can get them all there and see them online at pantsstore.com, or go in person, Leeds, Birmingham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, and Auburn locations, but they'll ship anywhere at pantsstore.com, pantsstore.com. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store. That includes free alterations and of course, free wrapping this holiday season. They're the group that dressed EG and Little T all football season, our friends at the Pants Store, pantsstore.com. And also by our friends right there at The Golfist, Brownie.
TheGolfist.com is where you're going to want to go to find out everything I'm about to tell you about. But let me tell you what The Golfist is. It is Birmingham's best golf simulators, and they are expanding. Already one location open, Highway 31 in Vestavia, but The Golfist is coming to you out on Highway 280, and it is coming to Trussville as well. What The Golfist is, indoor golf simulators. Bring your own clubs, bring your own food, bring your own drink, bring your own party. They can host up to 50 people for a holiday party. They can do like a business meeting, annual business meeting. Yeah, get out of the office. It's all boring and stuffy in there, and at least have some fun while you're doing it, right? Get business done and have some fun. Or if it's just you and the buddies who want to go take a crack on courses that you recognize, courses you have seen on TV over the years, you can do that at The Golfist. Book your bay now, thegolfist.com. Get out of the office. Get in The Golfist. TheGolfist.com.
Here's Rhett Lashley ahead of tomorrow night's primetime game, SMU and Clemson. Rhett Lashley on getting ready for the big ACC championship game.
The only thing we can control is Saturday night. I think most people, and I don't want to speak, I think most people assume we've earned the right to be in the top 12. And I think they're right. But at the end of the day, we don't know until Sunday. And, if we don't win the game, we do allow that to be a possibility. So we're not going to go in worried about that. We're also not going to go in thinking that we've made it. We're going to play this game like we have every other game. And, yes, we've made the championship game, but that wasn't our goal. I mean, it was a goal. We want to go compete and try to win it. And we know it's going to be hard. So I don't think our guys are in that mode. We definitely aren't relaxed. We don't think we haven't won anything yet. We haven't made anything yet. And so, but we're gonna respect Clemson as our next opponent, like we have the last 12, and see if that formula can keep working.
I'll start with EG first. EG,
Okay.
you've been talking to players all year long at Alabama and Auburn. You know the mindset. If you're an SMU player, that's a concern for me that they are having to probably answer questions from reporters all week long. If you lose, do you think you're still in?
Yeah. I'm curious if they do have player availability, because I'm curious too going forward if Alabama were to make it, what that would look like, if DeBoer would have his players talking, because you run into that.
It's mandated at that
Mandated,
point.
okay,
Yeah, that's
mandated at that
yeah.
point. I don't know. I think that you're going to worry about such an emotional situation, and you want to go about it as business as usual, but Rhett Lashley is saying it's really not. Now, what stuck out to me in that bite is you don't want to put yourself in that position, so win the game.
Yeah. What stuck out to me in that bite, and I'm curious, Lance, he said we're obviously a top 12 team. Is SMU obviously right now a top 12 team to you, Lance?
No, they are not.
You don't think so?
But the rankings say
I mean,
so.
look,
The committee
no.
says they are.
Let me back this up.
Okay.
Right at this moment, if we were to shut the season down, I think they are deserving to get in. But I still haven't seen that top 25 win. So if they were to lose to Clemson, I don't think they deserve to get in.
Like, I look at SMU at 11-1, and I'll just start with teams behind them. And you could do this with the other teams, I'm sure. But Do you think, Lance, they're better than Indiana, SMU?
I think it's tight. I would lean Indiana wins that game.
Do you think they're better than Boise?
I think they're better than Boise.
Do you think they're better than Alabama?
No.
Miami?
Yes.
Ole Miss?
No.
South Carolina?
No.
Okay. I mean, that probably, I didn't keep up with your yeses and nos, but that probably drops them to about 11 or 12. So
you know what, Greg? Thank you wishes.
What?
That Lance was on the committee. Top of the hour from the College Football Hall of Fame. By the way, our wishes have come true. The doors are open, and we've got about 8,000 young people that are about to be touring around. We're looking forward to
Make
that.
noise.
And more good wishes. Todd Fuhrman coming up on the other side. We'll talk to Fuhrman about all the championship games tonight and tomorrow as we broadcast live here, being brought to you in part by our great friends right there at Odie's. LT, tell us about the great folks at Odie's where we can go hear some live music tonight.
Yeah, live music tonight, tomorrow night, getting you ready for conference championship week. Before the live music starts up, you can sit back and you can watch college football, the Mountain West Championship with UNLV and Boise State. Get in there for lunch or dinner. Enjoy some of the great chili. Rodney Davis has been doing incredible food for more than 35 years. Burgers, sandwiches like the Diablo sandwiches. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light, those huge styrofoam cups, the famous cocktails from Odie's. Get in, see Will Haver and that great staff. 2 locations, the original in Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. It's a Birmingham institution. It's Odie's Tavern.
Let's go Dogs. Everybody ready? All right, here we go. College Football Hall of Fame when we come back.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy, have fun out there.
Happy football season. At the next round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge. plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today, in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Back at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta for SEC Championship Week, Texas and Georgia. Winner getting a bye in the College Football Playoff Selection Show, which is 11 o'clock Central Time, coming up on Sunday morning when we find out if Alabama is in or not. We'll talk about the Friday games and then the Saturday games with our buddy Todd Fuhrman. Jim Dunaway and Ryan Brown here in Atlanta. Lance Taylor back there in Birmingham. Fuhrman in Vegas. And even though we're on the road, nothing changes. I get to Fuhrman about 4 or 5 minutes late.
Well, he understands since we're at the SEC Championship. Todd Fuhrman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com. What is up, Fuhrman? How are you, my friend?
I'm going to blame the time zone confusion as contributing to Dunaway's inability to get to us on time. But other than that, everything is peachy keen around these parts, boys. I'm jealous that you guys are in the belly of the beast for the big game tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. Let's talk about, first of all, because we were just talking about this going to the top of the hour. Lance, what did you say the best odds you saw in Alabama making the 12 team? What was it up to?
Yeah, Fuhrman, I'm sure you saw Monday morning Alabama was plus 105 just to get into the college football playoff. It went to minus 200 in a lot of shops on Tuesday. And I saw FanDuel just a few minutes ago had Alabama minus 430 to make the college football playoff, and no was plus 300.
Yeah,
that's my question, Fuhrman. How efficient are odds like this? Because as I brought up to Lance, a lot of this is on the thinking of a group of people, and it would seem like it would be difficult to put odds on this. How much faith should Alabama put in these numbers?
The answer is, if we're talking about odds on something like this, where it's a selection committee that has a lot of say in the teams that will be included in the college football playoff versus a game played this weekend, this market is significantly less efficient than what you're seeing elsewhere. Lower limits on a lot of these price tags, and books oftentimes will inflate some of these based on narratives and to try and protect some of their assets. So while Alabama fans should have a level of confidence, I don't think they should have the level of confidence that a minus 430 price tag suggests. On the flip side of things, SMU also listed on FanDuel at minus 430 to make the college football playoff. And I think what's interesting about that particular scenario is that if you really believe SMU is a formality, I'm not sure I'd be running to lay minus 430 on the Mustangs. Bet them on the money line in the game against Clemson is the most direct path. So I do think there are a couple dominoes that still have to go, but there is also a possibility that somehow, some way, SMU and Alabama both get in, and maybe a team like Indiana finds themselves on the outside of the playoff picture.
Hey, before we get into these college football playoffs, I do want to go back to last night in the NFL and Dan Campbell. And I just, if you had, and I don't know how many people would have laid the minus 170 with Detroit on the money line, but going for it there with 43 seconds left when you've got a field goal in hand, look, and it worked out for him, and it typically does this year. But I just wonder what the sports books were feeling at that point and what you thought of that decision to go for it there.
Well, first things first, from the sportsbook's perspective, the Lions winning by exactly 3 was the single-handed worst result that they could possibly draw up, because what we saw during the course of the week is the Lions open as high as a 4-point favorite. Number got bet down. So you had professionals that were either taking 3.5 or better with Green Bay or looking to lay 3 with the Lions in that spot. So when a game, especially in a standalone time slot, gets sided and falls on the key number, it is the absolute worst scenario, especially when you combine it with a total that saw no under resistance, with that number being bet from 51 to 53, with largely public sentiment driving it up. And then, of course, they were rewarded with that big second half. In terms of win probability and what Dan Campbell elected to do there, is it the optimal strategy at that particular spot to elect to go for it in a tie ball game? Not by a lot of the mathematical models that we look at. Now, you have to factor in some of the intangibles there, knowing that Brian Branch was a little banged up. It's a defensive line that doesn't have its full complement of players, or in the linebacking core. And the one thing that I think a lot of people were talking about last night, at least on social media, is that, well, if he doesn't get it, the game's over. Well, Detroit still does have a chance to get a stop against the Green Bay Packers and force overtime. By going for it on 4th and inches there, he essentially knows that his team either wins the game in regulation or he's forcing overtime instead of having to put his much maligned defense that's banged up out there on the field. So brass balls for sure, and you do wonder if that riverboat mentality catches up to him. But I had no problem with that decision there, knowing that he may not have wanted to take the game in overtime if he didn't need to.
It's brass balls time in college football. It starts tonight, the road to the national championship, virtual playoff game, UNLV and Boise State. Home field advantage for Boise on the blue turf, Fuhrman. So you take the home field advantage away, it's a virtual pick'em at that point, in my opinion.
Relatively short price, and these two teams are going to be doing battle for the 3rd time in a calendar year, and we assess how the first 2 meetings have gone. Last year in the Mountain West Championship game, Boise State came into Allegiant Stadium and took care of business, leaving no doubt against what was at that point a Cinderella story for UNLV. 44-20 in that game. Boise State rolled up more than 300 yards on the ground, which was better than UNLV's total offensive output. Fast forward to a game we saw earlier this year on a Friday night. UNLV actually took the lead going into the 4th quarter against Boise, just was unable to try and sustain some of that offensive momentum and came up short. But the biggest takeaway in that spot for me was what UNLV and Barry Odom were able to devise in terms of limiting the effectiveness of Ashton Genty on the ground. Yes, he had over 100 yards like he did in every game this season, but from a yards per carry standpoint and overall efficiency numbers, it was his least productive game. If you're UNLV and you're going into a game of this magnitude, you're not going to let Ashton Genty be the reason that you're not going to the college football playoff. I think a lot of the burden of proof will fall on Maddox Madsen. But on the flip side of things, UNLV's got to find creative ways to get their most talented offensive weapon, Ricky White, into space. Boise State has done a phenomenal job in the previous 2 meetings trying to contain his level of effectiveness. But UNLV healthier now at this point in the season. Underlying metrics suggest they're playing better football. And I think if you're looking to get involved in this game at 4.5 or better, I actually like the road team. UNLV been one of the more under-the-radar successful teams on the highway, 10-2 against the number the last 12 games away from home over the last 2 seasons.
Todd Fuhrman is bettheboardpodcast.com, bettheboardpodcast.com. That is where you can find him talking about all the games. He's with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Let's talk about a Saturday game. It is a win and get in for the Big 12, and I noticed the number has ticked down just a little bit today. Arizona State -1.5 in Dallas as they take on Iowa State in Arlington, to be precise, as they take on Iowa State. What is the reason for this number kind of dipping down just a little bit?
Kind of hanging around in no man's land with this number, as you alluded to, Brownie, in that 2.5 range, now down as low as 1 at some shops. Iowa State, for the first time against a Big 12 opponent this season, will go into a game as an underdog. The only game the Cyclones had caught points in earlier this season was their trip to Iowa City, where they were able to upset the Iowa Hawkeyes. And what's fascinating for me about this game is not just the story for Arizona State as they come into conference championship weekend with a team that had the lowest projected win total, not just in the Big 12, but anywhere in the country, and odds upward of 150 to 200 to 1 to win the conference championship. It's the fact that, in my opinion, the betting market hasn't responded strongly enough to the absence of one of the biggest offensive weapons that Arizona State has on their roster in Jordan Tyson. You go through some of the pass-catching stats for this group, and you don't have a single wide receiver coming into the game tomorrow that has more than 17 catches on the season. Tyson represented more than 40% of the touchdowns that Sam Leavitt and Jeff Sims have thrown this year from a yardage standpoint as well. And while the 3-3-5 defense is normally built to take away the explosive, you have to imagine that Iowa State's defensive coordinator, John Heacock, is going to put a few extra men in the box and not allow Cam Skattebo to be the reason that Iowa State doesn't win their first conference championship, since before World War I. I'm on board with this line move here. I think the Cyclones will get a better performance from Rocco Beck. These are the kind of games that Matt Campbell and his program have lived for in the past, and it makes a ton of sense why we're also seeing under money as well. I think it's the first team to 24 to get out of Arlington with a win, so I like the dog, and I like the game under the total.
Fuhrman, the rematch, Georgia, Texas, right there in Atlanta, where Dunaway and Brown are. I was a little surprised where this number fell. I thought it would be closer to a pick. Look, no Kelvin Banks. I know Texas's defense has been lights out. Georgia's been very inconsistent, but you saw how dominant they were in the first half in Austin. This is basically in the backyard of the Georgia Bulldogs. I thought it would be more Texas 1 maybe, but maybe closer to a pick.
A little bit surprised the number has taken off as much as it has, that you do have an opportunity if you shop around and want to make a case for the underdog to be able to grab 3 with the Bulldogs. We know how the first game went, and while the scoreboard says one thing, it's important to keep in mind that Texas isn't going to turn the ball over about 13 times in this game, and they've shored up their protection issues, although you mentioned the injury to Banks, and I think that looms large in this spot. But what's been fascinating watching the Longhorns all season, you go back to that game against Georgia where they came up on the wrong side as a 4.5, 5-point favorite, and even the following week against Vanderbilt, Texas allowed 11 sacks in that 2-game span. So what have the Longhorns done since then? They've gone to a much more run-heavy approach in wins over Florida, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. You've seen the passing volume for Quinn Ewers kind of fall off the table, and the emergence of Contravian Wisner has really paid dividends. The hardest part for Texas, and I know this sounds almost like a cop-out when we have 12 regular season data points for the Longhorns, how good is this football team? You go through who they've had to encounter in the SEC, and they've avoided the best 5 teams not named Georgia in the entire questions there. But if you guys know what version of Georgia we're going to get on this stage, it makes the 3 of you significantly smarter than me. I know it's a de facto home game, so you do have to build in a little bit of home field advantage there. I lean Georgia plus the 3 for the full game. Could make a case for Texas in the first half minus the 1. And if this game was a winner gets in and the loser goes home scenario, I wouldn't hesitate for a second to be going under the total. The hard part is some of the psychological aspects in the handicap here, knowing that both these teams are already into the college football playoff. And quite frankly, neither one of these fan bases will remember this game if they go on to lose here and win the national championship or win this one and lose their first college football playoff game.
This is Fuhrman's favorite part of every interview. It's Jimmy Lehman's play of the week, right?
That's right. How on earth?
How on earth? So here's my how on earth moment. And I go to the Big Ten championship game. You're telling me I've only got to give 3.5 points to Penn State? How on earth is Oregon only a 3.5-point favorite over Penn State?
So, I mean, Dunaway, we know where LT is going to fall in this game, but this is one of the rare times that I actually can endorse the ugly duckling here in the form of Penn State. Now, I won't be laying the 3.5 with Oregon in this particular spot, but I do think the betting market has been a little bit short on Oregon despite overwhelming public sentiment. This was a Ducks team who is dealing with a number of injuries to some of their offensive contributors throughout the course of the regular season. The group is finally healthy, and we saw that on full display last week in their resounding win against Washington. 7 touchdowns was the best offensive output that the Ducks have put on the books this year. And as you go through some of their difference makers, I mean, Jordan James, Tez Johnson, Evan Stewart, and Terrence Ferguson, now all fully healthy. They've solidified some of the protection issues that plagued them the first 2 games against Idaho and Boise State. Now, that offensive line is going to get tested. Penn State's defensive front can manufacture pressure. But the big thing for me, and the reason I can't get to Penn State here, I go through the game logs for the Nittany Lions, and I know what the counting stats and some of the underlying advanced metrics suggest. This defense doesn't look elite to me by any stretch of the imagination. We've seen offenses that lack some of the skill position talent that Oregon has in the form of Minnesota or even Bowling Green early in the year put up some crooked numbers. We'll see what Penn State can do offensively. I think the one silver lining for the Nittany Lions on that side of the ball is that Nicholas Singleton has looked healthy over the last 2 games. I mean, dealing with nagging injuries from weeks 5 through 12. And this is a guy that we know is a home run waiting to happen. We saw the big play potential with that 66-yard kickoff return against Maryland. So fun game. Again, not a lot of high stakes other than maybe that number 1 overall seed for these 2 teams. And the angle that I probably feel the most comfortable attacking here is Oregon's defense against that Oregon's offense, against that Penn State defense. And I'd look at their team total over 27.5.
Todd Fuhrman, BetTheBoardPodcast.com. He is on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. It becomes academic for Alabama if SMU just wins. We spend a lot of time talking about what happens if they don't. Can you give Alabama fans that are in this audience some peace of mind with your play of SMU minus 2.5 and tell them this is no game? They run Clemson out of the stadium and Alabama is in the college football playoffs?
The betting market has a little bit more confidence in SMU's ability to run away and hide than I do in this particular spot. This is an SMU team who deserves a ton of credit. Rhett Lashley made a seamless transition from this group playing in the AAC last year, stepping up in class to the AAC. And I know there were a lot of folks around that SMU program who are a little bit concerned early in the season when you lose on that Friday night outright as a double-digit favorite against BYU. But SMU has righted the ship. They figured out where their best playmakers are, and Kevin Jennings has kind of been able to stabilize that quarterback position, giving them everything and then some. The problem that I have with SMU is when you go through their schedule, since October 19th, Stanford, Duke, Pittsburgh, BC, Virginia, and California, none of those teams offer the same level of talent or recruit in the same zip code as the Clemson Tigers that they are going to play tomorrow. And the one thing in that Duke game is Duke was able to generate pressure, got Kevin Jennings off his spot, and SMU treated the football like it was a hand grenade. Louisville, arguably the most talented offensive team that they face from a receiver position that they're going to see until tomorrow. And at 3, if the market gets there, that'll be a buy point for me on Clemson. But I do like this SMU defense. The big challenge for them is can their defensive backs hold up on the island against SMU offensively? Should be a fascinating game. One thing that works against SMU as well is build in about a half a point for home field advantage for Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. And this Clemson team has flirted with disaster all year, yet here we are, just one game, and they can achieve what they wanted to for the season. Lean Clemson plus the 3, and it may put Alabama fans on pins and needles going into Sunday.
Furman, it is conference championship weekend, but nobody is talking about the biggest game of the weekend. SoFi Stadium Sunday, 3:25 Central Time, as the Rams host Josh Allen and the 10-2 Bills. Rams getting 3.5 here. Look, I've seen Josh Allen play against the Rams twice. Rams 0-2 last time they played him. That season opener after the Rams won the championship in 21, and they walked the Rams off the field in SoFi. This seems like a low number, though.
Well, you were part right on SoFi, LT, because one of the biggest games of the weekend in the NFL does have a team that calls SoFi home. They're just going to be on the road at Arrowhead Stadium for Sunday Night Football. So you got half of that equation correctly instead of the Rams leg. But the one thing we have seen from Sean McVay, as you know all too well, is that the Rams typically peak during the month of December. It was just last year. They were 6-6 after 12 games, were able to go 4-1 down the stretch and punch their ticket into the postseason. And this year, there's still a path for them to even win the NFC West if some dominoes fall the right way. In years past, normally I would do everything I could and then some to gravitate towards the Rams, especially at better prices that were available early in the week, with them as a 4.5 point underdog. Buffalo coming in fresh off of winning a division with 5 games to play. They have the Lions on deck, and this would have all the makings of a letdown spot. But the way the NFL has gone this year, you haven't been able to steal anything with these home underdogs. And one thing that I'll share with you guys, a note that I got from a prominent bookmaker in town, I asked him how the season has been going the last 7 weeks, and I quote, majority of faves and the popular favorites just keep winning outright and keep putting money line parlay tickets into people's pockets. We're losing on those two exotics and parlays and teasers that we haven't lost in the last 15 years I've been behind the counter. Can tell you books will be rooting like hell for the LA Rams, so may not be a bad position to be in. I just can't get there and endorse the home underdog catching 3.5.
He is Todd Fuhrman. You can get all the games at bettheboardpodcast.com. Follow him on socials at Todd Fuhrman. Fuhrman, enjoy championship weekend, my friend. Always great talking to you.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Enjoy the game. Should be a lot of fun, and can't wait to break down the first round of playoff matchups that we'll have in front of us this time next week.
Can't wait. That'll be fantastic. See you next week, Fuhrman. That is Todd Fuhrman. BetTheBoardPodcast.com on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You could go see America in an RV from Johnston RV Center. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator. Always online at johnstonrv.com. Travel trailers start as low as $145 a month right now. Great price to go see America in a travel trailer. How about Fifth Wheel? Savings of $45,000 and more. That's great savings there. RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on anything that is new or qualifying pre-owned at Johnston RV Center. See more online, johnstonrvcenter.com. NLT.com.
NLT, the best decision you ever made, other than being a Rams fan, was Michelson Laser Vision back in the day.
Yeah, I was telling you guys, our friend Alex at Odie's, he wore the glasses forever, and he finally went in, saw Dr. Jen Michelson, got the procedure done. He has got 20/20 vision. I've still got the 20/15 vision after 21 years. Make the phone call that we made, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with an absolutely free consultation. If you wear the contacts, you wear the glasses, you're wasting money each and every year. I'm speaking from experience. For more information, you can always go online, go to michelsonlaservision.com.
Lance, I can't speak for Dunaway or Scott or Tyler or Melton or EG or Little T, anybody on the show. I'm 100% on board with you Sunday. Rams, what do you all say? Whose house? Rams' house?
Yes.
I'm all with you against the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, it's a critical game. I mean, obviously the Bills still trying to stay in contention for the number one seed in the AFC, but for the Rams, it's I don't want to say it's a must win, but it's very close to a must win.
Yes, I mean, if I'm being honest with you, how it impacts your Rams is less of a concern to me.
I
I just
know.
want you to beat the Bills.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, we all understand that. All right. Next segment, we'll get into 4 downs today, and also some Player of the Year awards, and how we could be killing the conference championship games. It's Murder, She Wrote this weekend for conference championship games, possibly. We'll talk about that coming up in the next segment. But right here, a little sound from SEC coaches. Tyler, if you can cue up cut number 4 first, Lane Kiffin, and then we'll do cuts 1 and 2. But Lane Kiffin first, and then we'll talk about the actual game on the field. Lane is out there, at one point we thought maybe they were the best team in the SEC.
There was a day coming off that Georgia win. I think even Nick Saban said it on game day. That's the best team in the conference. They couldn't back it up though.
Yeah. So here's Lane Kiffin on this whole selection process on what he feels and the reputation that the SEC should be getting.
It's why it's just different. It's just totally different. And these comparisons of other conferences and ACC and Big 12, I mean, it's just like, you might as well be in different leagues, not conferences, different leagues. Like here's the NFL, here's the SEC, here's those few Big 10 teams, and then here's everybody else. So you're going to see it in the draft. It'll be different, like it always is with the SEC, the amount of kids drafted out of here and there. And so it's really a bad system. Here you go. You got me going. It's just a bad system. It's a bad system, and you got people in there in place of it. And I don't know. They gave me the list of the coaches today. Any of those coaches ever been down here in the Deep South into these stadiums and played in these games that are on this? So how do they even know? How do they even know what it's like to have to go win in these stadiums, in these places, and on the road of teams that they say, well, these teams are 500 teams, and then we have the week where the 3 favorites all lose on, the senior day and night in 3 of the hardest stadiums in America to play. It's much different than where these other conferences go and play. They're, 6-6 teams that they got to go play, or 5-5 teams at the time.
Yeah.
Just totally different. And you got to get up for it every week. It's a lot easier when you got to get up for 2 games a year, to get your team up.
So that's Lane Kiffin, and he ain't wrong, in my opinion. I believe that. You got some thoughts.
Well, Lance, I agree with what Kiffin's saying. You know how I feel about it. You feel the same way about the SEC and all that. But, boy, we're getting a lot of horns down over here.
Let's go.
All Georgia kids giving us horns down.
Hook them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What, do they think you two look like a couple of cowboys?
What'd you say?
I said, do you two look like a couple of cowboys? Are they pegging you guys for Texas fans?
I don't know. Do y'all think we're Texas fans? Or y'all just pull it for Georgia? Come around back here, and give them the horns down on camera.
Okay, Brown, as you direct traffic, yes, I agree with you.
Look at them. Look at all the horns down from these kids, man.
Yeah,
I see them early here.
Throw them a flag. Tell
them to go to school. The Truden office.
Can we get a big roll
officers
tide?
rolling around.
Roll Tide?
No.
One Alabama fan?
Okay.
Yeah, no Alabama fans.
Go
Brown,
ahead, Lance. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Brown, I do agree, and with both of you guys, I think Lane Kiffin is right. But, he talks about these hostile environments. They lost to Kentucky at home. You lost 2 games as a double-digit favorite to Kentucky and on the road in the Swamp. I know it was a really good atmosphere, but you lost those games. You win one of those games, you're in the college football playoff.
I was just going to say, I agree with what he's saying, Lance, but do you know how taxing this narrative must get to the rest of the country? I mean, it is a bold, I don't even know how to describe it. Yeah. Arrogant. It's an arrogant narrative. It doesn't mean it's wrong, but my gosh, if I'm a Big Ten fan or a Big 12 fan, I get sick and tired of hearing this. Of course, I mean, what's the Big Ten care?
Yeah, I mean, this is
they set it up.
I've got so many businesses. I make so much money, man. My taxes are a pain in the ass. They are such a pain. You have no idea what it takes to get everything together.
It's working perfectly for the Big Ten, Lance.
Yeah.
Indiana's just fine now. More from Kirby and Sark as we get ready for the SEC championship game in Atlanta. College Football Hall of Fame. Thank you to them for allowing us to be here. 90 more minutes to go on the show. That includes Chip Brown, who will be here. It's his first SEC championship game with his beloved Texas Longhorns. He'll join us coming up at 11 Central Time as we continue on. This is the next round being brought to you in part today by our friends at Gray's Tree Service. LT, tell us about those great folks.
Yeah, they came out to my house a few months ago. They were at Brown's house last week. If you've got any issues, you've got that leaning tree, you've got dead trees, you don't know what's going on, you need to get them properly, professionally extracted. Our friends at Gray's, they can do it for you. Family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. They are the experts in high-risk tree removals. Gray's maintains a fleet of specialized cranes and lifts to get the job done right and prevent damage to your home. You've probably seen them rolling around town. Trusted by nearly every golf course in town of the Birmingham Zoo. No competition. Call today. Tell them the next round sent you. 205-281-6100. You can scan that QR code or just visit graystree.com.
And Storm Restoration Roofing, that's Greg from Pell City, the free no-cost roof inspection. He'll do that for you right now. All you have to do is look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City, or call the number that'll be on your screen in a moment. That roof can age out. Greg will get up there and let you know how your roof is handling the cold temperatures or the heat of summer here in the South. Look him up on Facebook, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Insurance companies trust him. That gives you a better deal. Or call that wonderful number you see on your screen right now. It's Greg from Pell City, locally owned, the best when it comes to roofing. Storm Restoration Roofing. Back to the ATL when we come back.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Done away, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of done away is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Grace McWhorter back with us here at the College Football Hall of Fame. LT will have 4 downs coming up in a second. But first, our sound of the day being brought to you by Dr. B. You're about to hear from the two coaches who will be putting their team on the field tomorrow playing for an SEC championship. Dr. B has put hair back on LT's field, better known as his scalp.
Yeah, look, a lot of guys, I mean, it's one thing we don't want. We don't want to lose our hair. And look, Dr. B can help you restore that confidence. He can help you maintain what you've got. He can even grow some back, which he's doing for me and Brown right now. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time. That is it. My hair has more than doubled in thickness over the last few years. Make the phone call that we made, 205-319-0316. Tell them the Next Round sent you. For more than 20 years, both women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training, and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call that great staff today. Tell them the Next Round sent you, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
Let's go to the Georgia camp first here on Kirby Smart getting ready to bring the Dogs back to a familiar place, but they don't always win this game. But good news for them, no Alabama here. It is Texas this year. So Kirby, what's your thoughts going into this SEC championship game?
In your mind, does this year's title game have the same meaning and value as it has in years past, given that both teams appear to be playoff bound in some form, no matter Saturday's result?
Well, I certainly think so, because I'm a SEC enthusiast that believes in an SEC title is a significant marker to your season and the kind of season you had. It also gets you a bye, and it gets you an opportunity to rest and recover while others play formidable opponents and tough opponents, and removes you from that. So you're playing for an opportunity to rest possibly.
So your thoughts there from Kirby? Well, value in the SEC championship, it's got to be on a pedestal.
Yeah. Lance loves a hypothetical, and I don't know why this came to me, Lance, right as Kirby was talking there, but here's a hypothetical. If Carson Beck were 70% recovering from an injury, do you think Kirby would play him in this game?
I do not. I think Gunnar Stockton would probably start this game.
Yeah, but 70% is pretty low. I mean, at that point,
but my point is,
I'm hoping Gunnar Stockton or Rashada could play better than Carson Beck if he's only 70%.
But if this were last year, do you think Carson Beck would play at 70%?
Yes.
And a 4-team, 100% he would.
Yeah.
I would. 70's low.
Okay, well, make the number what you want to make it.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
80%.
Whatever that he stays ahead of his number 2 quarterback in performance.
But Lance, you see what I'm saying? Like if it were the decision of risk Carson Beck? I should have asked it this way. If it were a decision of risk Carson Beck's further injury or let him heal going into the playoffs, Lance, do you think he would start in this game?
I think that he would rather him heal.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you,
that shows you where we are.
That's what
tell
you
you
would
who
do
it's
in the NFL.
who it's-
You already clinched in a playoff spot. But let me ask you, Lance, you're the NFL enthusiast. If I can have a bye and home field advantage with a win in the NFL, or in this case, a bye in college football, do you play that guy who's not 100% or not? I mean, if you're playing for a bye and home field advantage, you still play in the NFL, don't you?
Yeah, I'm just interested 100% in the NFL. I'm interested to see how important these buys are, how this seeding is going to go. I mean, it's uncharted territory, so we really don't know.
I'll tell you, Lance, how you would make these buys more important. Dunaway just said it, if it tied to home field advantage. So, in other words, if Georgia and Texas were playing for a bye and a guaranteed game in Austin or Athens in the second round, I think these coaches would play it a little harder, don't you?
Much different. But look, for Kirby, I mean, I think his wife Mary Beth wants him to win this game. He gets $200,000 for winning an SEC championship. So he probably doesn't even see that, but that's probably she'll plan a trip or get a nice wardrobe or whatever she does with that. I mean, $200K goes a long way. Maybe not in Kirby's world, but look, that is significant.
But we don't know Georgia keeps a home game if they lose this, right? They could. I mean, they're just right now projected as a 7 seed. They could be an 8 seed and have to play Ohio State instead of a 7 and play Indiana. You don't know where you're going to be seated. So having that bye to me, EG, is very important.
Significant. So you're saying that even with a win tomorrow, they could still be on the road for the.
No, with a win, they get a bye.
Yeah,
they'll get a bye. But with a loss,
Georgia, where are they right now?
They're 5. They're right now. No,
5.
they're 7.
Well, they're 5 in the rankings.
Yeah,
so
5 in the
rankings.
7 in the seeding.
Yeah.
Right? You see what I'm saying?
But
Lance, I don't think that'll happen.
A loss. I mean, they could tumble 3 or 4 down.
You just jumble it up a little bit. If it just slides one spot, it could change who you're playing.
But you don't think the committee. Well, see, here's part of the problem.
I like my matchup with Indiana. I'd hate my matchup with Ohio State.
Yeah.
If I have to play them.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Brown. So, I mean, look, they're going to be, if Alabama doesn't get into this, if Georgia does lose, they're the only 3-loss team that is in this thing.
But you don't think the committee will treat Georgia the way they're treating Alabama? And that Ward Manuel said this, there's nothing that's going to make Alabama fall. Now, if Georgia is playing a game, Alabama is not. You don't think they'll get the same treatment where the worst Georgia could be as a 7 seed?
Well, see, the committee, and people forget this, the committee has never released any seeding yet.
That's right. Only ESPN has done that, right?
They've only released a ranking.
Yeah.
They haven't released any seeding. So when we see it at 11 o'clock on Sunday morning, it'll be the first time the committee's ever seeded anybody. So a loss by Georgia, though they're ranked right here, right now, the ranking could shuffle. The seeding could shuffle. That's the ranking. The seeding has been very different. And you just move one team, one spot, Indiana up or Georgia down or Ohio State up or Tennessee down. You jumble it one time, it's going to change the seeding, not the playoff teams. And all of a sudden, however you feel about Indiana, my game is not Georgia hosting Indiana if I lose this game. All of a sudden, it could be Georgia on the road at Ohio State, or it could be Georgia versus Tennessee again in Knoxville or something.
But the question is, if Georgia can fall, then SMU would fall too. If they
lose.
Yeah, I'm specifically focused on Georgia and the desire to win this game.
Yeah.
Obviously for an SEC championship, obviously for a bye, in the scenario of resting a player or something. I don't think Texas is not going to not have a home game.
Yeah, Lance, it's going to be hard for me to believe, though, in the first year of this, the SEC is going to get 0 first-round home games. I don't think the committee would do that.
No, and I think that's why we wanted these on-campus games, because you wanted to see different parts of the country and how different teams from different conferences. I mean, the most used example is the SEC going to the Big Ten. At the same time, you want to see teams come into some of these SEC hostile environments.
And that's why I think the worst Georgia could be is an 8. Because and there are 7 right now. The worst they could be is an 8, because you're not going to give Tennessee the home game in front of Georgia. Tennessee didn't beat Georgia, and they didn't play in the conference championship game.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about losing your home game. I'm talking about who am I playing now.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so who am I going to play?
Well, I don't know.
I like my matchup with Indiana. I don't know if I'll like I don't know if I like my matchup against Alabama or Tennessee or
Ohio
State if they weren't the 8, if they ended up being the 9.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No.
Or Iowa State or whoever it ends up being.
Yeah.
Boy, Kirk Cignetti has got some material because every fan base is saying, man, if we can just draw Indiana.
Yeah. And Indiana may not be the team I want. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying even when you lose this, the seeding can still impact you. The one thing you do know is a bye. I can't lose in the first round.
Right.
I get a bye, and I know I'm in the next round, and I'll wait and see who comes out. It'll be a quality opponent, but I'm already one step closer to a national championship.
Exactly. You're on the fast track to a national championship if you get the bye.
Do you think Notre Dame's locked in at the 5? I don't think they're locked in at the 5.
I don't either.
Because if Penn State loses to Oregon, Penn State's at 3. It's going to be hard to drop them much lower.
Yeah, even crazier is Penn State winning, and Oregon can't drop far.
There's no chance they would drop below the 5 seed.
So they would be a 5 hosting in Eugene.
I mean, Lance, that's the given to me. If Penn State wins this game, Oregon is absolutely the 5 seed, right?
Yeah, but then your made for TV game would be Oregon hosting. I mean, what if they were hosting UNLV?
I mean, but somebody's going to have to.
Someone's going to have to, but you have to factor in that they're going to want to make the most money off all of this as well. So when we haven't seen the seeding, but I would imagine the committee will make sure that these are matched up in a way that are going to be these TV marquee games that no one wants to miss.
But I'm with Brown. There'll be at least one SEC home game. But Notre Dame's going to eat up a spot. And the way the rankings look right now, the seedings likely would have 2 Big Ten home games, 2 Big Ten, and Notre Dame and an SEC home game.
But Lance, back to your Oregon point, let's say UNLV wins. They're hosting UNLV, and then they turn around and get Arizona State. You don't think Dan Lanning would sign up for that 2 day?
Yeah. And I'm just talking about for the TV product, but you're right. UNLV's got to play someone. I also wonder this, because if teams that aren't playing are locked in and you're not supposed to be punished for your conference championship loss, if Georgia, who, by the way, has gotten gashed the last 2 weeks on the ground against UMass and Georgia Tech, if they were, and I give Carson Beck credit, he hasn't thrown an interception in the last 3 games, but if they were to lose by 21 plus, these are humans making this decision. That I think that would factor into where their seating is.
Yeah, I do think blowouts, start changing the whole dynamic of it all. Steve Sarkisian brings Texas in their first year in the SEC here to Atlanta with a chance to win a championship. We'll continue the sound brought to you by our friends at Inverness Country Club. Tell us about Inverness, LT.
Yeah, great place to not only take a look at getting a membership. What about this holiday season? What about the gift of membership? You could gift the wife or husband. Either way, it's going to work out for both because there are so many things to do. They've got memberships that fit everyone from the social to the golf. Inverness Country Club, great place to meet others in the community. Maybe you've relocated or retired. Inverness is a great place to network. Childcare is also a big plus. Maybe you work from home. What about working from the club while they watch your kid? Best days happen in Inverness. To take a tour of this unbelievable club, call Erin today. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
We told you earlier, no Bevo is going to be here. We told you earlier that Texas is going to bring a nice crowd, but we don't think it'll be 50-50 here. Maybe it ends up being close to that. But for Steve Sarkisian, it's all about planting a flag here in the SEC, their first year, and coming to win a championship. Here's the Texas head coach, Steve Sarkisian.
There's layers to the season of college football. I understand that, and whether this can contribute to some of the seeding, but I surely hope, especially in the Southeastern Conference's case, nobody ever gets punished for playing this game, because it's a little bit of the war of attrition in our conference, and you've got a week in and week out. Like I always kind of chuckle at people, oh yeah, well, we beat an SEC team this year, but you didn't play it 8 straight weeks. And you didn't have to go play in some of these environments that people have to play in and week out, and you have to deal with the injuries that we have to deal with in our conference. And so the reward to play in a championship game like this is one that we cherish. But on the same token, I surely hope this year and in the years to come that nobody ever gets punished because they don't come out on top in this game, because it is a real grind. And it's to earn the opportunity to hoist that trophy is a great one. And I hope that if anything, we get recognized for making it to this game, not getting punished if somebody, for the team that doesn't come out on top.
Speaking of injuries, by the way, Georgia expected to get ETN back in this game. How does that help them, LT, getting ETN back?
Well, I think, just running back by committee for Georgia, it takes a little pressure off the freshman Nate Frazier, who's starting to play really well right now. Georgia, it's week in, week out, pick who the guy is going to be that shows up. I still don't think they've got significant weapons, especially when you look at what Texas has got offensively to what Georgia maybe doesn't have. More surprising for me, and I don't know about you guys, but Georgia to rank 9th right now in the SEC in run defense, 9th in total defense, 7th in scoring defense. It really is shocking because, I thought that would be the one consistent. I didn't know what they would have with Brock Bowers and McConkey going on to the NFL, and you see the factors they're having for both of their teams in the Raiders and the Chargers. But I thought you could definitely trust Carson Beck, who's been very inconsistent, and I thought at worst you would have a championship-level defense, and they just really haven't played like it.
Lance, do you know in the UMass game, was it a lot of quarterback runs? Because that zone read, and I doubt you watch much of the UMass game, I wouldn't blame you, but that zone read is what killed them against Georgia Tech. And you mentioned it, how bad they've been against the rush the last 2 weeks. I don't know what UMass was doing to them, but it's UMass. It really shouldn't matter what UMass was trying to do. That's a team that's fired their coach already this year.
Yeah, so their quarterback in that game, and he absolutely did nothing running the football. It was running back by committee. They went 229 at almost 6 yards a carry, and it was all running backs.
So you're not going to get much out of Quinn Ewers running. He's hurt. Yeah. I mean, they bring in Arch Manning on the obvious quarterback runs. Now, Quinn did make a good run down the sidelines against Texas A&M, but that's alarming to me if I'm Georgia, especially the way Lance Texas just ran it on A&M. I mean, they ran it down their throat on the road in College Station.
Yeah, Wisner is playing at such a high level right now, and Texas does have, whether it's 1 week, Golden, 1 week Bond. Gunnar Helm has become, outside of Tyler Warren, maybe the best tight end in college football. So, Texas, they haven't been flashy offensively, and I think a lot of it is because Quinn Ewers has been a little gimped up and hasn't been 100%. It's been a little inconsistent. But Texas still has a lot of weapons. I really do think the biggest factor, though, is Kelvin Banks, maybe the best tackle in all of football, not playing this weekend.
SEC championship game at Mercedes-Benz across the street from the College Football Hall of Fame, where we are. It's open. Tours going on all weekend. Anytime you're in Atlanta, stop by to the College Football Hall of Fame. LT's about to give us 4 downs. Before that, let me remind you, the fine folks at Urology Centers of Alabama standing by to help you. 16 locations, one close to you there to keep you on top of your health, guys. As you grow a little bit older, from your 20s to your 30s, you start to stay on top of all the things when it comes to your urological needs, and the folks there can help you from prostate health to kidney stones, everything in between, vasectomies. UrologyCentersAlabama.com, UrologyCentersAlabama.com, 205-930-0920. Let them help you out. 4 downs, LT, brought to you by Slice.
Yeah, great weekend to get in and get you some pies from Slice, local pizza, local ingredients, created by the late Jeff Bajai. His brothers continue to celebrate his legacy. Get into one of those 5 locations, the original Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. For more information, Slice, Birmingham.
First down.
My man jumped the gun there, Tyler.
That's right. Hurry up, Lance. Let's go.
More surprising fall in coaching. Tom Herman, who was recently fired by Florida Atlantic, or Eric Bieniemy, who was fired yesterday as the offensive coordinator for UCLA. And this is a guy, and you guys remember, part of it might have been Rooney Rule, but so well respected on Andy Reid's staff, and he was going to be the next big head coach. And now the dude just got fired from UCLA.
And Lance could have stayed at Kansas City as long as he wanted to in that position. I mean, you see it with Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator. Reid, I mean, if Eric Bieniemy wanted to be there for life, he was going to be there as long as Andy Reid wanted him.
It could be interesting to see if he comes back there now, but I am shocked that he took the UCLA job to begin with, because I think we discussed when it was Deshaun Foster and then Deshaun Foster hiring Eric Bieniemy, it wouldn't have surprised us if it had been the other way around. Eric Bieniemy was the head coach at UCLA because he'd been so rumored. So, E.G., I'm going to be more surprised, not that Tom Herman fell off after the Texas, but I'm going to go Eric Bieniemy.
I'm going to be honest, I don't have a dog in the fight. You could tell me either one fell harder, and I'd say yes.
Yeah,
yes, okay.
I think it's Eric Bieniemy, Lance. It looked like he was going to be NFL head coach. Can he be an offensive coordinator in college now?
Second down.
More total rushing yards this weekend. Ashton Jeanty against UNLV tonight or Texas against Georgia?
Oh.
I'll take Texas.
So all of Jeanty versus Texas versus Georgia. Give me your answer.
I'm going to go Texas because I feel like when they played in the regular season, they had a pretty good plan to handle Jeanty.
Lance, do you know a total for Jeanty tonight? Do you know where it is?
I would put it at 148.5.
I would think it would be maybe a little under that, but that's a pretty good number. I would think it's in the 140s. Just to give you a little reference here, Texas is averaging 175 yards per game rushing. The thing that does make me a little fearful for taking Jeanty is the fact that Georgia hasn't been good against the run the last couple of games. I would go Texas here, but man, they're going to do everything they can. Obviously, it's all about winning the game, but if they can get Jeanty those extra yards, they're going to get him as many as they can.
Yeah, I mean, he'll play 4 full quarters no matter what, and they'll try to – I did look, though, on mybookie.ag right now, Lance. I mean, they're wasting their time. Have you seen what the Heisman odds are today?
I would say like minus 1,200 for Travis Hunter and then like maybe plus 550 for Jeanty.
Right now at mybookie.ag, what does that say right there for Travis Hunter, Dunaway? Can you see that?
That is a very good that's minus 100,000.
Lance, minus 100,000. Jeanty is minus 141. Have you ever seen Heisman odds that big?
We probably have, not recently. I mean, we've had some pretty good, coming down to the wire Heisman Trophy ceremonies over the last, 4 or 5 years. I mean, last year it was, how do I forget this quickly?
It was Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, it was Jaden Daniels. I mean, that wasn't really decided until championship week. If Bo Nix and Oregon would have won that game, it might have been a little different. But, yeah, those are massive numbers.
Jeanty's going to have to run from Idaho to Washington to win this thing. I mean, Travis Hunter's minus 100,000.
Yeah, so for people at home, am I right about this? I'd have to bet $100,000 to win 100.
Yeah, well, 100,000. I mean, Are you sure it's 100,000 and not 10,000?
I mean,
which would make it 1,000 to 1.
Don't look at it and tell me if I'm wrong.
I've got
6 zeros.
6 zeros.
Yep. Travis Hunter. Don't press on that. You're going to make a bet.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter minus 100,000 Heisman Trophy winner.
Or is that $1 million?
I don't know.
It's 100,000.
Yeah,
it's 5 zeros.
It's 5 zeros, not 6.
That's what I said. She said 6.
I know. She's, she's.
She's drunk on excitement.
Yeah, I know. 100,000, Lance. It is minus 100,000. So you're saying you haven't seen that number anywhere else?
No, I have not. And then Scott just pulled it up for all of our viewers out there. Yeah,
that's hefty.
It is.
By the way, Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, the Big 12 Players of the Year, shockers. That was announced yesterday.
Hey, look at that. You can't bet on Cam Rising anymore.
Yeah.
Third down.
Johnny Manziel, 33 years old today. If I ask you guys,
he probably can play until he's 39, LT.
Incredible college career. But if I asked you, ultimately, who has the better career, Johnny Manziel or Jalen Milroe?
Lance, do you think Johnny Manziel's 33? What are his internal organs? What
his
are his internal organs?
I saw this today. Is 81 right now. 81 years old.
I mean, I'm going to go with Milroe. I mean, Manziel was such a bust. Now, Manziel, obviously the better college player than Milroe. Nobody's going to argue that.
Yeah, look, won a Heisman Trophy. And Milroe's already been to a playoff. Johnny Manziel was a first-round draft selection. He probably started 20, 25 games in the NFL. I mean, that's but it's an accomplishment. Now, will Jalen Milroe be able to do that?
Yeah, will Milroe start that many games? I don't know. It would be hard for Milroe to be worse than Manziel in the NFL.
Yeah, but Milroe is behind as he heads to the NFL. That's right. He hasn't done what Johnny Manziel has done. Are we asking overall career or just in the pros?
No, just overall career.
Yeah, I think I'll go Manziel.
I'll go Manziel if it's overall career.
Because that guy can't unsee what he did in college, and Milroe has not been that good in college.
And you got to factor in a little Joe Namath factor of what Manziel meant to just
college football.
Yeah, just the image and the story around him is a documentary. So Milroe's got a lot to do to catch up.
Hey, he has a documentary out, I think, right now.
Does he? Oh, that's right. The Link documentary. I remember watching
I say that loosely.
Okay.
Hey, Manziel is definitely.
But imagine if Milroe did get into this college football playoff. And imagine if Milroe played like he did at his highest level. Then the narrative completely changes, right?
Oh yeah, and Alabama probably lifts a trophy on that play.
If he could do it 4 times, for sure. Let's do 4th down.
4th down.
Giannis Antetokounmpo is 30 years old today. The Greek Freak has lived quite the life up until 30. But if I asked you ultimately the better career, Giannis or Joe Burrow?
Giannis has a trophy. He's got a ring.
He's got multiple
Giannis.
MVPs too.
Yep. And I just don't know if Burrow is in that organization, and he's going to be locked into that organization. Is he ever going to get a ring? I mean, if you bet yes or no, Lance, you would bet no that he ever gets a ring as good as he is.
I would bet no. I just don't know how you overhaul the defense quick enough to make it work. And then Jamar Chase, what's he doing in his second contract? I mean, there's well, I guess he did get his second contract, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's the Bengals organization. It's one of the reasons I'm really hesitant on Detroit, just because I've never seen it before, and we've obviously seen the Bengals get to multiple Super Bowls. I would go Giannis just because he's got the MVPs, he's got the championship.
I would go Greek Freak as well.
Yeah, we all agree.
Yep. So across the board, nobody saves the graphic.
I do love Burrow, but
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Right?
It's not all on him.
No,
They got a
it's not.
defense.
And he owns a Batmobile. That is 4 downs brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, get in for a slice or salad. Pick up a couple of pizzas on your way home, from the Hot Mama to the Soul Pie, the Bajalia Special, the Wing and a Prayer. You're going to love it. Local pizza, local ingredients. More information, slicebirmingham.com.
Okay, so Chip Brown will join us part of the next hour from the College Football Hall of Fame. We'll talk to him about the game on the field. Before, though, Tyler, if you can get the McCurry spotlight ready to go, I've got one thing that I think is going to really piss off a lot of Southeastern Conference football fans, and some old school folks, even some new school folks like my buddy Matt Moscano down in Baton Rouge. I think he's gonna be mad about this. I think Joey up on Sand Mountain ain't gonna like this. Tom down in the Wiregrass near Dothan ain't gonna like this. Hit it, Tyler.
The College Football Spotlight.
It is presented by McCurry Van and Car Rental. If you need a car, van, or truck rent from McCurry, all kinds of vehicles to choose from. The trucks, SUVs, passenger vans you need. Locations all over North Alabama: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, 2nd Avenue Northwest in Coleman, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Call and reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003. That's 256-559-1003, or McCurryRentals.com. That is McCurryRentals.com.
It has already been approved to be on the fields. You can put a corporate logo on fields if you would like to. Expected to be approved this off season. Corporate logos on your uniforms. You'll be able to put a patch on there if you choose to do so. For brands like Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, they expect $12 million a year to be added to the funds of that university by putting just a corporate logo on there. You first, LT. Would you be okay with that?
I think it will be numb to all college football fans out there, just based on the fact that we're paying players now. And this is just another way to generate income for NIL. So, if this would have been done 5 years ago, I think people would have been like, you've got to be kidding me. College football is sold out. College football is already sold out. So this is just something that was inevitably coming.
Okay, it won't be $12 million for everybody, EG, but everybody can get some with a corporate logo on there.
I feel like I see the benefit of it to some schools, just like with the corporate logo on the field. I don't hate it, especially with, like Lance was saying, college football has sold itself out, and there are schools that need that money, right? So I don't hate it. I do think it's inevitable. I hate it on the baseball uniforms, and we're just getting another layer to that on the college uniform. It depends a lot for me on what brand is doing it and what corporate logo we're getting.
That's
Obviously, I don't know who's going to line up to do that, but I don't think you can be mad about it.
But if you're Miami and you've got Tinder, if Tinder pays you the $12 million, I mean, that wasn't a dating app or one of the NBA logoed uniforms? I think it was.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right. I mean, look, hey, that money spent.
I think I was right. I think it was a dating app. I think it was maybe the Clippers out there. I think it was.
You can't leave $12 million on the table in college football. You can't. If
Well,
that's
I mean,
what the money is, you got to do it.
Hey, look, the NBA's doing it, so.
Yeah. Does it bother you, Lance, in the NBA? Like, I don't really notice it that much.
Look, we're trying to maximize every dollar. I mean, we got shit everywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't bother when we do it. Absolutely. I know. I mean, it's going to be crowded, though, because, you've got the SEC patch. You've got your SEC graduate patch. You've got the Nike logo on that Alabama jersey now. Team captains now on that Alabama logo. Or dudes, if you're at Colorado, you got the D on there, whatever. It's going to get crowded on there, but it doesn't bother me. I'm okay with it. Top of the hour, Chip Brown joins us on the other side. And Chip seems like a guy back in the day who used to enjoy a good murder, she wrote. We'll talk about murdering the conference championship games. Texas is going to kill the conference championship games in the Southeastern Conference. We'll talk about it on the other side. Coming up, this is the next round from the College Football Hall of Fame, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're back in a moment.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today, in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the 4th quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by deuce number 2, Sabian Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemphill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Back at the beautiful College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, just down a couple of blocks from Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where tomorrow Texas and Georgia will play for the SEC championship. And back in the day, it was, one step closer to the national championship. It'll be for both teams this year with the expanded college football playoff. We'll talk about all that with our buddy Chip Brown, who's with us, who's been covering the Longhorns for what seems like a lifetime now. But first, I'll remind you this hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's. Champy's world-famous fried chicken right there, 119 in Alabaster, where you get a chance to get that great southern fried food. It's brined overnight, cooked to order. I'm a big two-breast guy, and the great sides that you get there, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. It's our friends with Sterling and Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster.
So Chip Brown has covered Texas, Jim said, for a long time. Chip Brown 247. He does a show every single day. Lance is on there a lot. It is always good to see you in person, though.
Hey, it's good to be here. I'm getting to live the life that you all have led for the last 17 years.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's
nice of you to share.
Yeah, we're glad Texas could be here. I mean, the Texas fans, though, it's got to be the dream come true. You go to a conference, and year one in that conference, you can exert your dominance and win the conference. I mean, that's the dream scenario.
Well, I'll tell you, Steve Sarkisian's done a good job. I mean, he laid out a plan for everything with the UT officials when he interviewed for the job. He talked about, building the team with big guys in the trenches, getting bigger inside and getting faster on the outside. He even talked about, building culture, how he was going to do it. And so when I went back last year to talk to the UT officials who interviewed him as they were getting ready to play in their first college football playoff, had just won the Big 12 championship, they said even in the 5-7 season, Sarkisian was hitting the marks in terms of the plan that he laid out. So I think he deserves a lot of credit. He's obviously hired a good staff. Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator, had a historically bad defense in that first year in 2021, and everyone was like, this is not going to work. There was murmurs that he wanted Pete Golding, but Nick Saban, after Sarkisian took Jeff Banks, Saban was like, enough.
Yes.
You're not taking any more. Even though I don't think Saban was crazy about Pete Golding.
It was kind of weird. He just
didn't want to start.
Pete has been really good this year, by the way, Pete Golding.
At Ole Miss.
Yeah, they've been fantastic.
So, and obviously now, flash forward, the Texas defense, I would argue, is the best in college football. And Pete Kwiatkowski has had different guys with him. Jeff Choate, then Johnny Nansen comes in. And I think he works well with everybody because he's egoless. I don't think he wants to be a head coach. That's a blessing because then you've got Sarkisian as the offensive play caller. He's the head coach. He's not going anywhere. If you've got a defensive coordinator who's kind of like the Mickey Andrews to Bobby Bowden and wants to be there, you get that consistency, you get that carryover. And right now, they're playing really well together. They have a really tight bond. I think this Texas team is hungry for the opportunity to see this Georgia team again, because everyone looks at that game and says, see, Texas is no good. I think that was their aberration game. That was we were too comfortable. We just got hit in the mouth. We got to go back to work, and they've gone back to work. Added a running game. Quinn Ewers is healthier, playing better, not great yet, because we have seen him. You all saw him play at an elite level in Tuscaloosa last year.
Yeah.
He was throwing the deep ball. He was seeing the field. So everyone's been waiting to see that again, obviously. if you're a Texas fan. And so we'll see, because Carson Beck's playing better. 11 touchdown passes, no picks, last 3 games. Let's get it on.
Do you get the feeling, any of this leaking in as you've landed here in Atlanta, that it's old school SEC versus Texas? Do you get the feeling that maybe there's not a lot of things that unite one fan base to another in this conference? Is there a chance that in the deep corner of their mind tomorrow that Alabama fans will be cheering for Georgia, that Auburn fans will be cheering for Georgia, that Tennessee fans will be cheering for Georgia, Florida fans for Georgia because you guys are the new kids?
I get that sense talking to you all.
Yeah.
Because Texas doesn't know any better. They're just like, hey, we're here. How's everybody doing?
Yeah.
And everybody's like,
thanks for inviting us, guys.
Yeah, we're doing fine.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go sit in your corner. Okay?
Yeah.
So it is interesting because, that, and talking to Lance and some of the guys, it seemed like if there was one unwritten thing about this SEC season at SEC Media Days, like if you could have poured truth serum in all the coaches, it would have been, don't let Texas come in here and, keep this roll going that they're on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we invited you to our house and you took the master bedroom. I mean, that's what it feels like for SEC fans at Texas.
Truthfully, it feels like the commissioner gave you the master bedroom. I mean, this schedule, you've played one. Now, I'm saying this as a guy who grew up an Alabama fan and saw, you played Oklahoma and Vandy, who beat Alabama, so that's 2 teams on your schedule. But the schedule you've got for not only this year, but for next year, the return games, seems to be an easier path than some other teams. So it was like Greg Sankey said, okay, if you join the league, we'll punish Oklahoma and give you a couple of lean years to come in. Boom, there you go, a couple of gimmies.
For sure. And I think one thing you have to look at for Texas, they've been trying to schedule tough non-conference opponents. Next year, they're playing Ohio State. They played Michigan coming off a national championship, and Michigan didn't recruit a quarterback.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
That's right.
So
you guys had 3.
Right.
You didn't have 1. Yeah.
Right. So I get it. Everybody's like, they haven't played anybody. They haven't beaten anybody. But they've beaten the teams that beat the other teams in the SEC. They beat Kentucky. Kentucky beat Ole Miss. They beat Vanderbilt. They beat OU, as you mentioned, who beat Alabama. So their only loss is to Georgia, and that's a good loss.
Do you think Chip Brown is with us? Chip Brown 247 on Twitter covers the Texas Longhorns and all the college football for 24/7 Sports. He's with us here at the College Football Hall of Fame on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Do you think there was almost a wink and a nod between Sankey and Texas? Like, listen, we've got to send you to College Station year 1. There is no way around that. We're not going to give you a back-breaking schedule. That'll be our deal with you, but you're going to College Station year 1.
I don't know about we're not going to give you a back-breaking schedule. I mean, they did do that, but there was no doubt that game was going to be in College Station because A&M never wanted Texas in the league.
That's right.
They even kind of did a little straw poll amongst the schools before telling A&M, hey, Texas and OU want into the conference.
Yeah.
But I think they did a little straw poll to make sure that the votes were there before they told A&M, because A&M immediately leaked it to the Houston Chronicle right in the middle of SEC Media Days.
That was a massive
in
leak,
the summer of 2021 in an attempt to get momentum against it. And it was already too late. So there was no doubt Texas was going to College Station. That was the consolation prize to A&M for, sorry, Texas is coming in, but hey, you get the first home game.
Yeah.
And it was as wild of a scene as I've been in.
Well, Texas took the air out of the stadium, but leading up to it, it seemed pretty wild.
They're roasting a longhorn steer on a spit, and R.C. Slocum was supposed to, I didn't stick around, was supposed to cut the horns, saw the horns off of that thing at 5 o'clock before the game. I mean, it was as intense. I mean, Texas OU, I tell you guys all the time, you have to go to the Texas OU game right in the middle of the State Fair. It is the greatest game day atmosphere in sports. And it's wild because you got both fan bases right on top of each other, 50-50 in the Cotton Bowl. This was all maroon. They didn't sell any tickets there were, the only burnt orange in that stadium were the allotment tickets.
Right.
And so nothing made it a secondary market. A&M fans took them all.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And they had one, former A&M star after another introduced on the field before the game. Jackie Sherrill. It was just,
Who, by the way, cut the balls off of a long
That's
course
right.
time. Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
When he was at Mississippi State.
That's right.
And so, Johnny Manziel's there. It was wild. Yeah. And I have to say, I was like, this is a big time atmosphere. And the Longhorns, who are the home team in the SEC championship game, but are wearing their road uniforms.
Tell more about that, because we were talking about the fact that they're not going to allow Bevo here, which I'm sure among Texas fans is a big slap in the face. They're wearing the white uniforms by choice. You told me last night, we were hanging out watching the end of the game last night, you said Texas is treating this like a road game. They are selling their players. We're going into a hostile environment. This is not a 50-50 game.
That's right. You're going to Atlanta to play Georgia.
That's right. What do you think it's going to be? Yeah.
Right. So we are the road team. We've won 11 straight true road games. They're looking at this as a true road game, so they've opted to wear their white, their icy whites, they call them.
It's a great uniform.
It's a great uniform,
yep.
And their mindset is us against the world, embrace the hate, which is sort of what they've been doing because they were also hated their final year in the Big 12.
No doubt.
So they're used to being surrounded with hate.
Is the Bevo thing a big deal among fans, that they won't let Bevo in? Is that like a...
truth be told, no.
Yeah.
But you almost feel sorry for the steer getting driven around, thousands of miles. But
and then he doesn't get to come to the
SEC. He doesn't get to come. But how? We've been to the Superdome. There is a lot of space beyond the sidelines. I've not walked the sidelines of Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Pretty tight. And Jim made a good point. They sell those premium lower level seats.
They have suites, field level suites, like they have at Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah, high dollar.
And you got 2 television sets that are already there with the SEC network and ESPN.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sure it's a legitimate reason not having him here.
Limited space.
Like, I don't think the SEC would go out of their way to screw Texas. That's a
right.
So I think it's legitimate that there's really not room for a massive cow.
Well, you say the field suites. That's everything.
Yeah.
Some suite holder's not going to have a giant steer.
Could you imagine a steer tail
blocking its path?
Just whipping in the.
I can't believe you guys got offended that they were roasting a full Longhorn on a spit before the game. We know where steaks come from.
Right. But they left the horns, the Longhorns on it. And of course, the head of the steer was still on it. So it was.
So, hey, by the way,
they burned Saban in effigy down in Baton Rouge.
And that was his first visit back to Baton Rouge, 2008, when Alabama played down there. Burned him in effigy, and it was a straw Saban.
Like this.
And they had just built it on a wooden cross. So nobody thinks through this, right? The straw burns like that. Now you're just got a burning cross out in the middle of the field. Yeah. Everybody was like, wow, we did not think our way through this.
Knock that down real quick. Knock that down real quick.
Let me get that fire out.
The show being brought to you by our great friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. We're about to talk to Chip about the actual game on the field tomorrow inside Mercedes. MyBookie.ag is the place you can go play tonight's championship games and tomorrow's games as well.
Yeah, Jack State a 4-point favorite tonight in the Sun Belt Championship against, or not the Sun Belt, the CUSA Championship against Western Kentucky. It is Tulane, a 4.5-point favorite in the American Championship against Army, and then Boise in the Mountain West Championship, 4.5-point favorite over UNLV. As we talk about Texas and Georgia, Texas holding it a 3-point favorite next door here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium tomorrow afternoon. You can play all those games at mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on, and they give you a 300% deposit bonus for use in the casino. 300% deposit bonus for use in the casino at mybookie.ag when you use code next round. Mybookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag.
And our friends at Roback, different shades of blue, but we've got our Roback quarter zips on. You get great hoodies and everything under the tree. Promo code TNR20 there. TNR20, 20% off that purchase. Roback.com for all the active wear. If you crave activity, crave Roback. TNR20, Roback.com. All right, before we talk about the actual game, I feel like potentially we could kill conference championship games this weekend because of the way the playoffs are moving forward. Or we could. Did Lance bring up to you when he was on your show the Joel Klatt scenario that he painted for us? I'll redo it for our viewers that wasn't with us, and you tell me what you think. Klatt believes we got one more year of this 12-team format, and then he believes we'll go to 14 teams, and that the SEC and the Big Ten will be guaranteed 4 spots each, locked in, and the ACC and the Big 12 will get 2 each, one group of 5, and then Notre Dame will have a spot. That's your 14 teams. And that on this Saturday tomorrow, you'd have 1 and 2 playing for one of the byes in the Big Ten and the SEC. So those would be the only 2 conferences that could get the byes. 1 and 2 would play here in Atlanta.
And both those teams are locked in the playoffs,
and
right?
They're both locked in the playoffs. Then 3, the third-place team, would host the 6th-place team in the SEC on Saturday, Championship Saturday, and the 4th-place team would host the 5th-place team on Championship Saturday, and the winner of those 2 games get the other 2 bids. So it'd be like an NFL playoffs. All SEC standings would go to 9 games, 9 Big Ten games. Big Ten would do the same things on their campuses, and no more selection process. NFL style, you just play your way in, and really the out-of-conference games mean really nothing at that point. What do you think?
That's where we need to go. Because I've been saying since the whole realignment of 2010 that the power conferences had to come together, collectively bargain. That's where the most money is. Do away with the conference championship games, even do away with one of the regular season games, get to a 16-team playoff, because that's where the most money is. We always end up where the most money is, especially now. Now that because everybody dropped the ball along the way. If they'd have done this, back in 2010, 12, whatever, you could have given a $5,000 stipend to student athletes and then had it scale from there. Now we're at God knows what some of these high school recruits got on signing day Wednesday. So now you need money more than ever. So I think, 14 on the way to 16 and do
you like the playoff aspect of
it? I do.
To where 3 would play 6,
Get rid of the committee because it's great television, it's drama, it's what are they thinking, all that. That's great. But when you look at this, you got to kind of get the commissioners out of the way, or they've got to become part of a panel that's looking out for the greater good of college football. And I get it. The SEC and the Big Ten rule the world, and they should have a really important, loud voice. But what do we want it to be? Do we want it to be 34? Do we want it to be 40?
Right.
Because that's what we ultimately have to decide. How many kids are getting into the club?
Could you imagine Saturday coming up? The championship game would be the prime time on ABC, but that first game out of the gate would be 6, South Carolina in Knoxville this year, with that 11 o'clock ABC game, and the 2:30 game would be Ole Miss in Tuscaloosa playing Alabama, and all of them are for the spot. Those first 2 games are win or go home, and then the last one's for a championship and a bye or the end of the playoffs.
Well, it sounds great in the SEC.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound great in the Big Ten.
Yeah, because in the Big Ten, they've got their 4 teams locked in, and I'm going to have to do this off the top of my head. I think you would have Indiana, Illinois.
It would be
Oregon,
sixth place at number 3, Ohio State. So that would be a blowout.
I can't even remember who 6 is.
It could be Minnesota.
I think it's Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then you're going to
Washington, one of those 2.
Somebody like that. And then you're going to have Illinois at Indiana. Much less sexy.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that's much less sexy.
That one probably doesn't make Fox. That was probably on the Big Ten Network.
Right. So, that tells you right there, the SEC is definitely the preeminent conference. That's what it is. The Big Ten they were the first to, get the Big Ten Network going, and they've secured their place. They've got tons of money rolling in. But the brand of football is not up to SEC standards.
Well, there's a chance I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Well, my dad asked a question. My dad, watching back home in Jacksonville, just texted me. If you do this, then you kind of do away with the rankings, I would assume. How do you determine Notre Dame's spot in it? That's a good question that my dad just asked.
Maybe they go by the AP poll or something. Yeah.
You got to figure out a way to determine Notre Dame's spot in this. I don't know if they have to be 10-2, 9-3 to be. I don't know.
Yeah, they would have to come up with something. But it's a great point.
But it's your fly in the ointment there. How do you get Notre Dame?
It is amazing that Notre Dame gets all these caveats.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Remember
that's
when Charlie Weiss was the coach there?
Oh yeah, they were awful. But
maybe that's the force. Maybe that's to force them into the Big Ten, and that's when we do realignment again. Who knows? On the game on the field, there's the potential, and maybe a likely potential, that Texas Georgia could play 3 times. The second go around, how does Sark feel about having to play them again, getting to play them again after losing to them the first time?
Well, I think Sark took really good notes in his time in Tuscaloosa, so everything's an opportunity. So I think he's got this team really excited about the idea of getting a chance to show everybody that was not our best day at the office. We got more to show. And Sark is to blame for that too. I think he went into that game a little comfortable. He wasn't using all the shifts and motions that he normally does. And the running game wasn't there. And I asked him about it, and he got defensive. And then all of a sudden, the last 4 games, they ran it 31 times against Florida, 41 against Arkansas, 47 against Kentucky, and 50 against A&M. And he was, determined to get that running game going. And they have changed some of the blocking, whether they zone or man, certain runs, because certain offensive linemen are better at gap than they are at zone. And it's working. So I think Texas is excited. I think Sarkisian's excited. And I'm really interested to see if this Texas defense gets the recognition I think that it deserves, because number 1 in pass defense, number 2 in scoring defense, they, 3rd in the country in interceptions. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. They're stopping the run even without Devondre Sweat and Byron Murphy. So I think that's the reason that this is going to be a much more competitive game.
Yeah, the way Texas is running it versus the way Georgia's playing the run is a big mismatch right now, it would appear.
Yeah, and that's they're doing it with Quintravian Wisner, who opened the year.
What is he, 14?
3rd string at best.
At best. And then all the injuries just bumped in and blew up.
Injuries and fumbles.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny now. We really thought, I remember us doing the stories, God, Texas lost another running back.
Yeah.
It's bad news for the Longhorns, and man, they're running it exceptionally well right now.
And he ran it 33 times for 186 yards against A&M, and it was rock'em sock'em robots. I mean, that kid, he was in like 5 car accidents that day.
Yeah.
And to have to turn around and then, come here and play this Georgia defense after what, Michael Williams and Walker and, Smale London, London didn't play in that game. So that'll be an interesting rematch, I think, because the Texas offense was awful in that game.
All right, Chip, we get ready for it, and another night in town before we finally kick it off tomorrow at 3 o'clock Central Time. But Texas is here. They're in the SEC. We waited for it, and now they got a chance to take home the trophy.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know how the rest of the SEC feels about it.
No, I can.
Not great.
Not great.
No, go ahead. Say.
Not great.
But it's hard for the rest of the SEC to get behind Georgia, too. So I think it would have been better for the rest of the SEC if somebody other than Georgia or Alabama was playing Texas.
Okay.
They could have gotten behind Ole Miss and Lane, right?
Yeah, probably so.
So it's I think the rest of the SEC is torn. They're tired of seeing Georgia and Alabama have success, but they also don't want to see the newcomer have success.
Yeah.
The outsider.
Yeah, the outsider.
Our friends at Champy's Chicken bringing you that interview with Chip there. Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Great Southern fried chicken, open for lunch and dinner every day. Easy to go on the weekend. Sterling is absolutely the best. He was day 1 with us, and he's been with us now. What is this, show 844? He's been with us for every one of those shows and some of the stuff before we started our first live show here. Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. I know it's a chain, but nobody does it like the store on 119 with Sterling and his crew there. Go by and support them, especially those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. All right, when we come back, Lance Reed joins us. We'll get to trash and then some final thoughts of the College Football Hall of Fame. Brown and I and EG have some duties with the fanfare. If you are coming over for the game tomorrow, Texas or Georgia fans who watch us, come on by and get ready at fanfare with us tomorrow morning before the kick. All right, back to the College Football Hall of Fame after this timeout.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at Scott Forrester TV.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the 4th quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by deuce number 2, Xavier Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and the experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well done service.
Back with you at the College Football Hall of Fame. EG's rejoined us for the trash segment now. LT has two after our conversation there with Chip Brown on the Texas side of this, rolling into play Georgia tomorrow. The show being brought to you by our friends at Hydra Live. LT, tell us about those folks getting ready for another big football weekend.
Yeah, IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, now weight loss therapy, all under one roof. Very important. Mention the next round. You're going to get 20% off all of their great services. Walk-ins are welcome. You can book online, though, hydrolifetherapy.com. We've got Daniel Jones coming out, our quarterback, to give us IV therapies in studio next Tuesday. Great stocking stuffer, gift cards from Hydra Life Therapy. 2 locations in Birmingham, Homewood, Highway 119, also Tuscaloosa. Again, very important. Mention the next round, and they're going to give you 20% off all of those great services.
Hey, don't forget, coming up after trash, we will give away our Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3 winner for the year. No Pick 3 today, but we've got our winner. We will do a random draw live on the air and let you know if you won the Pick 3 today. So it should be a lot of fun coming up.
There were, I don't know the total number of submissions. I want to say it was somewhere approaching 10,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. If I did
higher than that, I believe.
Was it?
My goodness.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe in that. Well, I'll have the numbers when we do it. So how many won out of however many thousand, you'll know, and then we'll randomly generate a number from there.
Yeah, because we're looking at, almost 2,000 balls in the bucket when it's all said and done. So
it's pretty good.
Yeah. Dang good pickers.
Got some smart folks.
Dang good. It was the final week when I finally got a 3-0. I guess we do have a standings we can do later.
Oh,
we have a final standings.
Lance, we've got a standings.
Oh, do we?
Who do you think? Who do you suppose Lance might be at the top
I
of the
have no
standings?
idea. No idea.
I forgot all about it until right now. I sent it to Taylor back on Monday or Sunday.
Yeah.
But we'll do trash first. Before we do that, though, a couple of awards went out. I told you the Big 12 went to Shador and Travis Hunter Players of the Year. Coach of the Year was Kenny Dillingham, LT. No surprise.
No surprise at all. And, as well as Prime did with Colorado, and the expectations weren't really that high for Colorado, there were zero expectations for Arizona State. And now they have an opportunity as a favorite to play their way into a college football playoff. So no surprise.
Yep. In the ACC, EG, no surprise. It is Rhett Lashley.
Yeah. Our guy.
This is the Coach of the Year. Our guy. Yep, he loves the show. It comes on all the time. And I'll get a different reaction from you maybe. Shane Beamer is the SEC Coach of the Year, is voted on by USA Today.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting juxtaposition considering what's going on with South Carolina, and they're pleased to make it into the college football playoff. What was interesting, and I'm kind of changing subjects a little bit, but if I'd gotten a question in on the media call, my original question was going to be, what do they make of these coaches pleading their cases from the likes of Lane Kiffin, Shane Beamer? You even have Greg Byrne, Kalen DeBoer. Like, how does that play a role in all of this? Does it hurt them? Do they even see it? Things like that. And I'm curious what y'all's thoughts are on it.
I would say it makes no difference at all.
Yeah.
You can't have it make a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me ask you guys this, LT and Brownie and EG. The folks that cover media put out ACC numbers. The most viewed ACC team this year was Georgia Tech. More teams watch Georgia Tech than any other team. More
fans,
more viewers on ABC, wherever all their games were broadcast. Georgia Tech had the most.
This is easy, Lance. They played the Friday night game against Georgia, which was very highly rated.
Yep.
And they played Notre Dame.
And that FSU.
And the FSU game to start the season.
Yep, week 0.
I mean, that probably put them over the top.
Well, and Miami, when everybody was pulling for Miami to lose a game.
Yep. That was one of the biggest upsets. So, yeah.
Of all the ACC teams, what was the least viewed team in the conference?
Wake Forest.
I guessed Wake Forest. I guessed Wake Forest too. I was wrong.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I mean, people, I think, just joy watched Florida State as bad as they were, so that wouldn't be it.
No, it wasn't Florida State. It was. I'll jump to the punch here. It's SMU.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
there you
SMU.
go. Hey, that tells the committee all they need to know.
Yeah.
I mean, Lance, I don't know how big they talk about TV numbers in there, but are you serious? SMU's the least watched ACC team this year.
SMU's average viewership was 662,000 fans a game. They had 6 broadcasts that were not streams, 6 of them. and they totaled just over 4 million viewers for the entire season.
That's insane.
I mean, that's a mid-tier SEC game.
That's
4 million views.
one mid-tier SEC game. Yep.
Wow. That's
as we like to call it, a month around here on our show.
That is stunning.
Yeah.
Wow.
Holy crap. Yeah, Lance, I'm with you, man. If at some point that comes up in the committee room, doesn't it? Like, hey, guys, I saw this stat.
I mean, look, if I'm the SEC, that thing is, and I don't know where you got it, Dunaway. Where'd you say you got it?
Social media. I'll have to go chase it
No,
back.
I'm just-
So you're saying Sankey
Greg-
ought to share
yes.
that with everybody in the room?
Yeah, did Greg Sankey tweet that out?
It should be on the Goodyear blimp, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
by the plane that pulls the sign?
Yes, exactly. All right, let's do trash. It's brought to you by Mortgage Right. Tyler, grab that roulette wheel, or roulette wheel, depending on what part of the country you are, and let's woo people. Spin that thing.
Hey, your old man passed away, right?
Oh, wow.
No, not yet.
Oh, I thought he did. I thought the judge was dead.
My brother died.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, always buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information going to their website, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. E.G., are you a Lion King fan?
I don't think I'd consider myself a fan. I've
Okay.
seen it.
Yeah.
Were you were a kid when it came out? though,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
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 Don't even have to ask Tyler. I know he's going to go see this movie. There is zero chance that I go see the full feature film. I got enough of it in the animation. You'll be there opening night, won't you, Tyler?
Sadly, yes, unless I'm at another movie.
Yeah.
Sadly, Lionel, what is this?
What other
it
movie
means
would
I
you see, Tyler?
Everything,
All of them.
regardless of how good or bad it is.
Yeah.
So Disney's Mufasa, The Lion King, is getting into the popcorn bucket craze. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Ahead of the prequel's release in theaters, theater chain Regal has unveiled a first look at the official tie-in popcorn bucket for the film. While the movie is not hitting theaters until December 20th, Regal's popcorn bucket can be seen now after the company posted first look photos on X. There it is. I don't understand this. I mean, these things are big. You're going to run out of room. Do you buy them, Tyler?
I do. I buy them for the Meltdown Studio. I don't know where we would put this one. This is just unwieldy. I don't know how you're supposed to sit there with the entirety of Pride Rock in your lap during a movie.
Yeah.
This is just a bad design.
Yeah.
It's
there you go.
Unwieldy.
Alaska State Troopers say two brothers got into a fight in Wasilla on Wednesday. Here's where it got bad, everybody. They tossed each other's unusual pets into the snow. One had an alligator, the other had a crocodile. I don't know if you guys know about this. Reptiles are cold-blooded. Not a good place for them to be. Now, the alligator was rescued. The crocodile, never found. Troopers believe it died of exposure. Now, court records show Ricky Lowe, 30, Tyler Lowe, 33, were charged in the case. According to the trooper report, just before 7 p.m., Wednesday, troopers received a report of a disturbance from Ricky Lowe at an apartment. After speaking with both him and Tyler, troopers learned that the brothers had a, quote, argument which resulted in a physical altercation. Now, following the altercation, 33-year-old brother threw the other's pet alligator outside into the snow. Then the other proceeded to throw the 33-year-old brother's pet crocodile into the snow, as well as before leaving the scene with his 2-year-old child. Now, according to charging documents against the man, the trooper who spoke with Tyler at the apartment found him slurring words and smelling strongly of alcohol while he looked for his $2,000 crocodile.
They said the Gators couldn't win in the snow. I wanted to prove them wrong.
No, you know what? You know what?
This is going to be a slippery slope, Lance.
Well, here's what the argument was over. Do you guys want to guess?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Women.
A woman?
Should Alabama be in the playoffs?
A woman or drugs?
They had been arguing over an anime cartoon.
Oh my God.
Bring back in Tyler.
Yeah. Hey, at this point, I'm glad they took the 2-year-old with them.
Temperature was approximately 30 degrees outside. There was no snow or ice on the ground, and both brothers knew it was too cold for the reptiles to survive. How about this? The manpower behind this. Troopers searched outside for an hour. They found the alligator behind landscaping rocks. Despite the use of flashlights and thermal devices, they never located the crocodile.
That crocodile, he's going to come back for revenge.
Yeah, by the way, that's the start of a movie.
That's right. Couldn't find the crocodile. I'm sure he died in the snow. Let's go get dinner, everybody.
He didn't go down to warmer water and is waiting on everybody.
Florida man with his sights set on entering a USAA building in Tampa wasn't going to let anything stop him from gaining access. Tampa police say Robert Beatty, 70 years old, went to the guard gate at the USAA office located at Commerce Park Boulevard shortly before 2:15 p.m. on Tuesday, demanded to be let inside. After the guards refused to let him inside, officers say Beatty put on a helmet, drove recklessly through the USAA parking garage, and damaged several fences on the property. 2 people in a marked security SUV tried to block Beatty in, but police say he intentionally reversed, struck their vehicle to create space. When officers arrived, they found Beatty on the floor of the parking garage, where he was taken into custody. Nobody was injured in the crash, fortunately, but he was charged with 2 felony counts.
So what was his purpose in wanting to get inside?
Yeah, we really don't know that. Tyler, any idea?
The article didn't say. It just says he was denied entry into the building and said, you know what? I'm just going to make my way in.
That is Richard Gere's rough-looking older brother.
Is USAA, is that the insurance that Gronk promotes?
I think so. And now Sam Elliott?
Richard Gere's rough-looking.
Oh, you know who that is?
It's got a little...
no, I'm going to nail it. Who? It's Mincy when he's 66.
No, that's Richard Gere, the eyes.
That's Mincy when he's 66 years old.
Richard Gere's older brother. Hey, and by the way, he did not do well in that crash. There's some gashes in that face.
Scott has a good one. He says it looks like Jeff Dunham's old man puppet, Walter.
Oh, it does. That is him. Yep.
Really good, Forrester. I miss the days when you had a microphone.
Wow.
It's working hard back there.
Scott's already talked on this show.
Our Hawk Tua girl might be going to prison.
Oh, I saw this.
Oh, why? Taxes?
Haley Welch, better known as the Hawk Tua girl, has faced backlash following the failed launch of her meme coin, $Hawk, which crashed by more than 90% just hours after it hit the market. Now the 22-year-old internet personality is being accused of scamming investors. Now, this week, Welch attempted to cash in on her viral fame by launching her own meme coin, cryptocurrencies that are based on viral memes or pop culture references. Speaking to Fortune magazine before the launch, Welch insisted that her meme coin named Hawk was, quote, not just a cash grab. You guys believe that, right?
Yeah.
However,
I mean, far from her to do something like that. Yeah.
Less than 24 hours later, at least one investor had already filed a complaint with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Now, when Hawk launched on the Solana blockchain on Wednesday evening with a price of, I can't even get into what even this is, like mere percentages of a cent, it quickly surged more than 900% and accumulated a market cap of $490 million. Now, the token price peaked at, again, fraction of a cent. Crypto Times reported before its market cap plummeted to $60 million, marking a whopping 91% decline in value. This is when people got involved. Now, there were some funny things here. Somebody posted on X, she's going to have to talk to a judge soon.
Yeah.
And she just Hawk Tua'd $1 million from our pockets.
But she's not the brains behind this. They were just using her name. Hopefully the contract is really good where she just sold her name and image to someone else, and somebody else is on the hook for all of this.
Lance, I am just stunned how far beyond the 15 minutes of fame we've gotten with this girl.
It's, she was at the Paul Tyson fight. They interviewed her.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It blows me away.
Podcast.
I thought after
blows me away.
The minute we had in trash like 4 or 5 months ago where she got introduced at like a rodeo and nobody said a word, that was when we knew it was done. But it continues.
Wasn't it at Rock the South?
Yes.
She got introduced and nobody even cheered?
Yeah, that was it. That was it, actually.
Yeah.
So back in the summer.
Yeah.
That's trash.
I don't get it.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
LT, before you tell us about Hemphill, by the way, I wanted to point out that we did get the announcement we knew would happen eventually. We knew there would be, at some point, a college football player staying at his school with a headline that sounds like it's an NFL deal. Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby has reached a deal to stay at Cincinnati after 18 passing and 9 rushing touchdowns. That's the headline today in Cincinnati. Sorsby has reached a deal to stay at Cincinnati.
I mean,
It's
like
a contract negotiation.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a gutty quarterback. I think he's, I don't know how, how many people actually came after him, but for Cincinnati to be able to keep him, Scott Satterfield, that's a good keep.
Yep, but at some point, we're going to run through the roster, right?
Yeah.
Alabama's reached a deal. Ryan Williams in Alabama reaches deal to stay in Tuscaloosa or pick a player. It's going to come to that someday.
Well, I mean, again, I think what it's going to come to is 3-year contracts where there is no deal. You've already done the deal. It's 3-year contract.
What if I only want to sign a 1-year deal?
Well,
that's what I would do if I was Ryan Williams.
You better have a ton of leverage.
Yeah.
And somebody would have offered him a 1-year deal. He would have to decide, is it worth going to a lesser program for a 1-year deal? Or I could go there and get hurt too.
Yeah.
And now I've got a 3-year deal at this school that's a better program. So my upside's a lot better. And it's I'm going to imagine these are guaranteed deals. So if I go get hurt, I've at least got 3 years. I mean, that's going to be the balance. And it's going to require these players to have good representation that helps walk them through those types of things.
Yeah, I just wonder what Cincinnati can pay. Like Brendan Sorsby would have been an upgrade for anything Auburn's currently got right now.
And Auburn would have probably paid $2.5 million for that, you think?
I would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's an upgrade for a couple of other teams.
Hemphill update, waiver wire, if we will. Hemphill update, LT, hot and cold.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. Trust the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. If you have any home or business, call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
All right, let's take a look. We appreciate Buffalo Wild Wings being with us all year long. Here are the final pick 3 standings on how this ended up. I finally got a ball in the bucket last week. It took all season long to get a ball in the bucket. That finally happened there at the end. But the pick 3 ends, and we're about to give out a winner here of our Buffalo Wild Wings 250. But there I am in the lead. Brown slides in at second, and LT just at the end. I think LT was 3-0 again last week. He had the most 3-0s of our group, but there's how we end up. And we appreciate LT Buffalo Wild Wings, and 250 is the magic number on this prize we're about to give away.
Yeah, we had lunch in there just a couple of days ago, the 280 location, 12 Central Alabama locations. Get in all weekend long. All of the conference championship games on. Of course, they've got NFL Sunday ticket. Great wings, great burgers, TVs everywhere. It's Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, Jim, I'm going to need you to give me a random number between 2 and 2,178. That is going to depend. That is going to determine our winner. If you could do that, please.
Okay, we have a little device here.
Yes, that you call a cell phone.
Yep. And so 2 is my minimum.
0 is your minimum, or 1 is your minimum.
1 is my minimum, and
2,178.
2,178 winners.
Tens of thousands of entries, and it's down to those people that had pick 3s. 3-0s.
I'm saved there.
Okay.
All right.
Thought this would be a much quicker process.
Well, that's why I told you.
Yes.
That's why I told you. Let me go ahead and load this thing up here.
Yes, if you'll go ahead and give me that number, please.
All right. Here we go.
Just need a number from you.
Oh, now somehow they're wanting me to pay for the upgrade.
Any number will do.
What are we doing?
Go back to the old one.
Oh,
okay.
No. Oh, no.
I want to make sure I got it right.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
1 and 2.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh, we can shake it.
Oh, I didn't know.
798.
798. 798. That is going to take us to a week 8 winner, Sam Killingsworth. Sam Killingsworth.
All right, Sam.
Well, I've got his here. Let me pull up real quick.
We're going to call him live, dialing for
FaceTime him, Brown.
We've got Sam's contact information, obviously, Lance. So Sam Killingsworth is our winner.
Okay,
Congratulations,
FaceTime him.
Sam.
FaceTime him at work.
What's that?
FaceTime him. Tell him.
FaceTime. I don't have his number. I've got his email. Here's what he had. I looked it up. All right. So he had. Tell me how good you would have felt about this, Lance, going into it. This is from Week 8, October 18th game. Sam Killingsworth had South Carolina plus 1.5 on the road at Oklahoma. How'd you feel about that one?
Man, I can't remember now. I'd feel really good about South Carolina.
Yeah, it was 35-9, South Carolina. Sam covered that one easy. He had Georgia plus 5.5 on the road at Texas.
Easy winner.
Easy winner, 30-15. He had Florida plus 1.5 at home against Kentucky.
Another easy winner.
48-20. I mean, he picked 3 blowouts, 2 underdogs, or 3 underdogs, one of them a home underdog, one easily. So Sam Killingsworth easily got $250 worth of gift cards from Buffalo Wild Wings and another $250 from nextround.store. Sam, our people will be in touch with you. Congrats. Thanks to everyone that participated in the Buffalo Wild Wings Pick 3. We have fun with it. I know you guys do as well, and we greatly appreciate you participating this year.
Yeah, mostly it's just about winning, Sam, right?
That's right. Sam's a big winner. He can brag to everybody. Now, guys, I won.
It's the bragging rights is what it's all about. We end our show today with a graphic that Little T has put together and sent out from Next Round Live on Instagram. There were 32 consensus 5-star recruits that committed on Wednesday. 32 consensus 5-stars.
Okay.
The ACC, who, if you listen to Rhett Lashley, thinking they deserve 2 bids if they lose in the college football playoffs. How many do you guys think of the 32 they had?
I think they had 4.
What was your answer, LT?
4.
4.
I'm going to go 3.
3?
2.
3 is probably right.
And I'm using the research from Little T's graphics department. 0.
Okay.
That's the answer.
Not good.
The Big 12, how many do you think they had of the 32?
Okay. I'm going to say 0. I'm going to go 0.
Wait, no, speed the game up. 0. 0.
Wait, is Juju Lewis not a is he not a 5-star guy?
Yeah, Lance is right about that. I don't know what they did with Juju Lewis there.
I'm going off of Little T's research here.
Lancey might have been a 4-star somewhere.
I saw
know.
5-star.
Yep,
but
this is consensus 5-star.
Consensus 5-star, so somebody might have had him as a 4.
Yep. And then there's the Notre Dame's got 1. The Big Ten has 10. And then the SEC has 21.
Wow.
21, 10, 1, 0, 0 of the 5 big entities with Notre Dame being their own. It just is different. There's the graphic that Little T has put together there.
I mean, that's impressive, and it shows you why, it's why the SEC does what it does, right?
Yep. A lot of those are on the field from the past few recruiting classes of Texas and Georgia in the championship game coming up on Saturday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Texas actually won, according to On3 Sports, the recruiting championship this year. Georgia very high again. Alabama there at number 2. So these Texas folks aren't going to go anywhere. That team's going to be good for a long, long time, especially as long as Sark is there. And we'll see what it looks like on Saturday. Final thoughts. LT, how does the game play tomorrow?
I think I'm leaning Georgia, but I don't feel good about it at all. I don't know how you can feel great about this game.
Don't think Georgia can stop Texas' run game. I think Texas wins this game and wins the SEC championship.
I'm going for the Dogs.
Oh, the Atlanta girl over here, Georgia girl.
Really excited.
The Georgia Peach.
Yeah, really excited about that. All right, until next time, that's the show from the College Football Hall of Fame. Don't forget all of our programming, including pregame shows tomorrow and a lot more on our platform. Set the alerts, and until next time, God bless you and God bless America.